that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed, start to move your balls. Let's pick up a word in Solomon Jones. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. Kawesa, guess what I got?
What you got?
My phone. Yeah! I got my phone. It's like having your arm. It's like... So, yeah, I got my phone today, so I feel kind of normal. It's not like yesterday, and very interesting day yesterday. We went, my wife and I went back to the furniture store. And for those who don't know, for those who aren't married, are not a couple, the furniture store can function as the seventh circle of hell. It is the place. But the people were very nice. Shout out to the people at Braymore and Flanagan up on Old York Road. But they were nice. They were nice. We had actually ordered some furniture. Then we went back. Right, and that's when the trouble began, because I wanted one thing, my wife wanted something else, and we went back and forth. We were there for hours. The salesman was like there. I kept saying, "Yo, give us a minute, give us a minute, give us a minute," because we're just trying to compromise and figure it out. And so, yeah, I don't think either one of us got our complete way. Where that is concerned, and so I will be taking my wife out today to get some of the things that she wants in order to make up for that moment. But y'all pray for us, because I'm telling you, man, furniture shopping, people have got divorced over furniture shopping, and so we were able to kind of do that yesterday. That was a good day. But we got a whole lot we need to talk about today, man, because your president is crazy, and we're going to end up in a place where we can't shop for furniture or anything else. It's going to be some kind of chaos, which is put in place by this dude. We cannot have that. We cannot allow that to happen. And so there are some processes that have begun in order to address what is going on with this president. And you know what? I am on board. I am fully there. We need to do that, because we cannot let this guy destroy our country. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Temple Professor Lynn Washington on the onWURD impeachment. And dear Melanie hilariously answers another of life's biggest question. Reverend Dr. Alan E. Wall is going to join us to talk about why he supports Joe Biden. And as always, we got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065. It's toll free, 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, City Controller Rebecca Reinhardt's office is auditing the Germantown Special Services District, which was created to clean up the neighborhood's business corridors, but has imploded over the last year amid accusations of mismanagement and questionable spending. Man. In a September 13th letter obtained by the Inquirer, First Deputy City Controller Kellen White informed the district that it was being audited for failing to file required financial reports with the state since 2004. There's a lot going on in Germantown, Kawesa. It is a neighborhood that is gentrifying at a rapid pace. It is a neighborhood where you have organizations which are in competition with each other. You have some organizations that are run by the new folks, the white folks, and some organizations that are run by the old folks, the black folks. And so that tension, I believe, has created this atmosphere where you have some organizations under investigations. People go and run and say, yo, I need you to look at this, right? And some of it is about trying to snatch power. So we'll see what happens with this. Of course, Cindy Bass is somebody who is involved with this, because she chooses the board for the Germantown Special Services District. And as I look at what is happening with district council people in gentrifying districts, I just need our folk to know. Just watch this, because it is an indication of, in my view, power grabs within these districts to try to get the black folks out, try to get other folks in.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And, gentrification it's a huge issue. It's a huge issue here. It's a huge issue in a lot of cities that, were originally, black occupied. And now it's like, oh, well, this is prime real estate. Let's get them out of there, because they know that there's money to be had in those areas. But what bothers me is the fact that they want to keep pushing us out. So we can't be a part of that money. So, yeah, it's just ridiculous. I'm glad that, Rebecca's, out here and auditing folks and figuring out what's going on, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd like to see some of those other organizations audited as well. Story number 2, former Vice President Joe Biden, in his most direct statement yet on the topic, called on President Trump to comply with all of Congress's outstanding lawful requests for information related to his phone call with Ukraine's president, and cautioned that if Trump does not, Congress has no choice but to impeach. If the president does not comply with such a request to the Congress, he continues to obstruct Congress and flaunt the law, Biden said. Donald Trump will leave Congress, in my view, with no choice but to initiate impeachment. What do you think?
I don't know. For me, I'm like, what does Biden want? Like a slow hand clap from listen, we all know. I'm glad that he's saying something, but I think at this point everybody's kind of saying something, and maybe that's for the best. I feel like, kind of like we were saying yesterday, if the Democrats can unite on this and really just, stand strong on it and have a united force, then, maybe this will be a lot easier or quicker of a I don't know. Maybe it won't be a quick process, but
it's not going to be a quick process.
It's not going to be at all.
It's not going to be a quick process.
Yeah.
It's going to drag through the election. And again, the Senate is not going to vote to remove him, but the House can start the impeachment process. That's what happened with Bill Clinton. Same thing happened with Bill Clinton, right? And I believe it needs to happen. It needs to happen here. So we will see about that. And of course, we are now on to our next episode in the impeachment follies. That's right. Nancy Pelosi has finally had enough. So yesterday she decided to start an impeachment inquiry in the House of Representatives. That means Congress will start the process of looking into Trump's bizarre and criminal behavior that included withholding almost $400 million from Ukraine to try to pressure their president to investigate Joe Biden. But don't worry, Trump says he's going to give us a transcript of the call he made to the Ukrainian president, and that transcript is going to explain everything. And if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you down on Race Street. Act now, and I'll throw in like 5 of those duck boats for free. Because here's the bottom line. You can't believe nothing that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth except when he's talking about racism or bigotry. That stuff he says from the heart. This is the same dude who stood on the national stage and made fun of a reporter with cerebral palsy. This is a dude who started his campaign with the racist claim that Mexican immigrants are criminals and rapists. Then when the judge of Mexican descent got assigned to a case against him, Trump said the judge could not do his job because he was a Mexican. Of course, we should have seen this coming. The dude went around for 5 years spreading the racist lie that President Obama was born in Kenya. Before that, he played a prominent role in the real-life version of When They See Us, taking out full-page ads saying the death penalty should be brought back for 5 boys of color falsely accused of raping a white woman. Before that, he was twice sued by the Justice Department for discriminating against blacks and Latinos in his real estate business. And now this con man, whose greatest accomplishment was firing people on TV, is in the White House. And we all act like we're so surprised that he's still about racism and lies. Well, I'm glad that Nancy Pelosi has finally had it with Donald Trump, because all the craziness we see all around us at the top starts there with a president who's running the White House on Twitter and got us all running around like this mess is normal. Well, impeachment proceedings are about to get started because Nancy Pelosi has had enough of this mess. And to borrow a phrase from Hillary Clinton, I'm with her. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. What do you think made Nancy Pelosi change her mind on the question of impeachment? Because, again, as I've gone over repeatedly, this is a big risk for Democrats because, okay, so you know that the Senate is not going to vote to get him out of office, right? The House votes to impeach, and you do a lot of hearings, and you dirty up the president, and hopefully people get fired up and they vote him out, right? That is the best case scenario for Democrats. The worst case scenario is you start the impeachment process. You know you're not going to get him out. You get his base fired up. He gets reelected. Y'all lose your majority in the House, and so now you don't have the House, the Senate, the presidency, or the Supreme Court. Like, so it's a big chance. I mean, it's really an all or nothing play, right? And so the question becomes, how much do people care about the issue of impeachment? I know, and most people don't even know what impeachment is, right? Impeachment is a political process, right? That can end with somebody just being condemned in the House of Representatives, but not in the Senate, right? And so they're not removed from office. Or it can end with them being, with 2/3 of the Senate voting to remove them from office, and then they're removed. That rarely happens. It's not going to happen in this case. But the House starting the impeachment process means they have a lot of hearings. They do a whole investigation. They get out some facts around the president's criminal behavior, in my view. And, you know, hopefully the people get fired up and vote him out. That's what this really is, right? It's a 3-step process, right? Articles of impeachment get voted out of a committee, most likely the House Judiciary Committee. Those same articles of impeachment are voted out of the House. And then they go to the Senate, where the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court oversees a trial. 2/3 of senators have to vote to remove him in order for him to be removed. Seriously doubt if that happens. The Republicans control the Senate. And so this is a process that's going to take place in the House of Representatives. The question is, at the end of this process, will people be so fired up that they vote him out in 2020, or will his base be so fired up that they vote to keep him in? I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning show. I'm going to go to the phone lines and talk to Keith from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon.
Morning, brother.
Yeah, you know, I hope people hear what you're saying about the rile up the voters, because the impeachment process, that's what all it can do. Other than that, the impeachment process is smoke and mirrors. Because we, like us as a community, black community, I know the white community had helped too, or done their job, but we gave the Democrats the Congress again. Like, this president said he wanted to do something for black people. So what also should be spoken about is what they're going to do for these cities. What's the congressional Black Caucus and Congress in general going to do about these black cities? These dilapidated schools, to get this lead out and this asbestos out these schools. Because I haven't heard any discussion in Congress about what they're going to do for the cities. They asked for the Senate, the Congress back, they got it. But I haven't seen any agenda what they're going to do for black communities around this country, because it's in shambles. It's drugs proliferated, it's gun proliferated, the schools suck. So the impeachment process is all smoke and mirrors. I hope they hear what you're saying about riling up the base. That's what it can do. Like, if people get out their darn bed and go vote and go vote for a president, a Democratic president, right? The second thing, the gentrification thing, right? So now, and it's funny you spoke on this, right? That the councilmatic districts right now, that's right, they're power grab, because we got good elected officials in the city, right? But nobody's beyond reproach, right? So they delayed you have to do affordable housing in these communities, right, to combat the market rate housing, right? But it's almost delayed. It's so delayed now that we're running an error now that we may lose our communities and the black community.
All right, man. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Yeah, it's a lot, man, and I think you're right. You know, a whole lot of people talk about, okay, well, you know what Trump is doing, and that's wonderful. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? And that's where we have to hold our own elected officials accountable. Keith said the schools suck. You know what I mean? He said, look, we got bad schools. We got communities that are struggling. When are the Democratic members of Congress, and that's what he's talking about, going to bring in more money into these cities that are struggling? And, I think that's a fair point. They have the ability to bring in some federal money, some federal funding to help with some of these issues. But really, all politics is local, man. It all really comes down to what are we going to do in our own communities with our local officials. Jim Kenney said he was going to take down the Rizzo statue 2 years ago. Rizzo statue's still up. He talking about it's going to cost $100,000, $200,000, depending on what day you catch him. He might say $100,000 today. The next day he might say $200,000. Okay, the budget is like $4 billion, man. $100,000 is a drop in the bucket. You mean to tell me you can't do that? Like just little stuff. So if you can't do little stuff like that, right? How can I depend on you to do the big stuff? In these communities that are gentrifying, you watching it happen, you helping it happen by putting a tax abatement in place that takes $70 million a year out of our schools and gives it to developers. So you know what's happening, you helping it happen, right? And so, we can talk about Trump all day long, but I agree, Keith is right. Some stuff needs to happen locally. Some stuff needs to happen with our other elected officials. Okay, y'all talking about we should be against Trump. Okay, I get that. Right? But what are we for? What do you have for us beyond, oh, you should be against that guy, he's a racist? Well, I can see that. You might be a racist too. You just ain't saying it out loud. Like, what are you doing that's going to help us? What are you giving us to vote for rather than talking about what we need to vote against? And then wonder why people stay home, Kuwesa. People stay home because you ain't giving them nothing to vote for. You know what I mean? And we can preach about it, talk about it all day long. We need to vote. But if you don't give anybody something to vote for, a lot of folks, Kuwesa, they're going to stay home.
Yeah, I think that, folks will stay home. I was actually talking with my mother earlier today. She's so nice. She talks to me early in the morning. But the thing is that, we were talking about the fact that, the system is just so crazy. We're trying to get out here and vote. We're trying to do this, because we know the value of voting and why it's so important. But at the same time, it's really hard when, people who are supposed to be in your own party, they sit there and they stonewall. They don't want to, help you out. They don't want to give you the information that you need to be able to, make an educated vote. They don't want to be on your side about stuff. And so it does make it difficult. And, anybody who's listening to me, try to be encouraged. Don't be discouraged because of them. You got to do it for you. That's how I got to look at it.
Yeah, you do. Because you will have people talking about what you shouldn't do and don't do this and why are you doing that? You just buying into the system. Well, that's your voice. That's your voice. And when people raise their voices together, it makes a difference. It makes a difference, right? So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. Facebook, of course, you can weigh in there at Forward. That's FORWURD. You can weigh in on Facebook at Forward. That's FORWURD. Let's go to Wes from Mount Airy online, too. Go ahead, Wes. Nope, let's go to break, and then we'll get to Wes on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters, don't miss The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app. WURD Show on the go.
Tell us where you'd like to see the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, bring the WURD Show on the Go team next. Visit WURDradio.com. Click the WURD Show on the Go banner and let us know about your community event, big news in your community, or an issue you'd like to see addressed. You can also catch up on the latest episode of WURD Show on the Go, or binge watch previous episodes. It's WURD Show on the Go with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, exclusively on WURDradio.com. WURD Show on the Go is funded in part by the Facebook Journalism Project Community Network.
WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
WURD.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer. Now delays heavy this morning on the Schuylkill Expressway. Both ways now a busy ride east and westbound through the area. Westbound Vine 8th out through Broadman Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Heavy southbound 95 busy. Cotman down through Girard at a jam. Blue Route 476 southbound your jam there. Mid-County down through the Schuylkill. Again, Broomall to Media Swaffmore. Northbound heavy 95 to Route 1. Westbound Turnpike from Willow Grove out through Fort Washington. That is a busy ride now this morning. 295 delays building both ways into 42. 42 northbound heavy from College Drive through 295. 55 north jamming Deptford into 42.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. 20 years ago, when my mom had lung cancer, she didn't have many choices. But today you do. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, please visit standuptocancer.org/lung cancer to learn more.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Let's go back to the phone lines and, let's not go back to the phone. Okay, now let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Don from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, brother.
To all the black folks out there, we want it to be free, right?
How about that?
Free. Just democracy is participation in government, man. So if the women put on your big panties, brothers, roll up your sleeves and get out there and participate. What the philosopher said, politics is warfare where no blood is shed, man.
Okay.
Just what democracy is all about, man. You got to get out there and fight. You got to get out there and vote, and that's what we want. We want to be free, right?
Yeah, how about that? Freedom costs.
There you go.
Freedom costs. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You're right, Don. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Anthony from Delaware on line 3. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, Solomon, what's up, man?
Good morning, brother.
Hey, yo. So this is my impression of a slave coming to get you for impeachment. Hey, Solomon, I didn't talk this.
Get out of here, man. What you talking about? Call back when you're ready to make some sense. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here on WURD. What's wrong with your people, Kawesa? Huh? What's wrong with your people, man?
No comment.
You know what I'm saying? Look here, man. Y'all don't know, boy. I will channel the spirit of Mary Mason. God bless her. Because she is the godmother of this, right? She was, but she hang up on you in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I will channel the spirit of Mary Mason up in this piece, boy. You better believe it. You calling me with some nonsense. 215-634-8065. Except she would bang on you and cuss you out, right? So 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. I know people are talking about it on Facebook, Kawesa, so let's check that out as well. You can comment on Facebook at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. That's where we are on Facebook. You can watch us live, and you can also comment right there on Facebook as well. What are they saying this morning, Kawesa?
So Aya Adjua says this impeachment inquiry is fluff. Got the thumbs down emoji over here. Joan Williams says he's not going anywhere. That's unfortunate. She's right. Angel Jones says if you are impeached, you don't lose office. Remember, after Clinton was impeached, he stayed in office. You have David Howell here saying it's nothing more than a fix and setup by Trump. If this was the smoking gun, why did they not seek a statement from the Ukrainian government? Watch for the trick play. The whistleblower refuses to testify or recants his statement. If this was the deal breaker, why not have an FBI investigation that had the evidence in hand? Smoke and mirrors to the max. America is racist to the core. So that's just what a few folks are saying on Facebook.
All right. Well, we want to hear from you, so you can certainly call us at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. I guess the thing that really kind of interests me is that you've had people screaming for impeachment. I think a lot of them who were screaming for impeachment didn't know what impeachment was, right? And I've explained it repeatedly. Impeachment is a three-step process, right? First, you have to draw up the articles of impeachment and vote them out of a committee in the House. Then those articles go before the whole House, and they are voted out of the House. If the House votes for impeachment, then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate has a trial, right, where you have the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court oversee this trial, and if 2/3 of the Senate vote for the person to be removed from office, then they are removed from office, right? And so I said from the very beginning that the Senate is unlikely, highly unlikely, right, to vote by a 2/3 majority to remove Donald Trump from office because his party controls the Senate. And so this was always going to be about what happens in the House, right? And I don't think most people understood that. I think most people say, okay, well, impeach him. That means he's going to be removed from office. Well, not necessarily. Not if it doesn't go, not if the Senate does not vote to remove him, right? The same thing happened with Bill Clinton. The House voted to impeach him. They didn't get enough votes in the Senate to remove him. He remained in office. But that stain of that impeachment is forever on his record. That's what's going to happen with Donald Trump, right? They're going to vote the articles of impeachment out of the House, but the Senate is not going to vote to remove him from office. And so in this case, right, I believe the House has to do it. He's forced their hand to do it. And he might be doing it out of a sense of strategy because he knows that his base is going to stand up against impeachment, and they might come out to vote in even bigger numbers because the Democrats are trying to impeach him, right? It might be political strategy for him. And for the Democrats, it's a big risk. But sometimes you got to take a risk to do what's right. And that's where they are at this point. You can't let this dude just keep doing the stuff that he's doing. He's on the phone trying to extort a foreign leader with your taxpayer dollars to do his political bidding. It's illegal on like 2 or 3 different fronts. He's breaking the law openly. Right? And then when somebody blew the whistle, he broke the law again because the whistleblower's complaint is supposed to go to Congress. That's the law. And so you can't let him keep doing this. Right? And so I say all that to say that everybody was yelling and screaming for impeachment, but now you got it, and now you're talking about it smoke and mirrors. Well, which one is it? Did you want impeachment or did you not? So now we got impeachment, right? He's not going to be removed from office by the Senate. So that means that as the impeachment process goes through the House, that the people need to be getting fired up and ready to vote him out in 2020. That was always going to be the way that he was going to be removed. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Do I believe it's right for them to impeach him? I do. At this point, because it's clear to me that he's not going to stop. Does that impeachment mean that the Senate is going to vote him out of office? No. We got to vote him out of office. That's the catch-22. 215-634-8065. That's 800-585-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Miss Mary from Winfield on line 1. Good morning.
And good morning, my brother. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. First, I just want to say this. I enjoyed you at Enon Tabernacle a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you.
45 a.m. service.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as I told Kuwesa, I'd never wanted impeachment because I know it wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it did happen, look at Clinton, look at Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon only resigned because he knew his AWS was going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
He knew it.
Yep.
Okay? So this is par for the course with the lawmakers. I got all of that. All I want to say to the Word family this morning, listen to Word, get your AWS out there, vote that man out because he's just breaking laws. He's just shredding the whole Constitution.
Yeah.
He's shredding it to no bit. And the only way to get that monkey out of there is to go out there and vote. I don't care if you're black, white, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, get out there and vote because he has and is going to take America down.
Yeah.
He used Russia at the same time in 2016 during the debate season about, are you listening, Russia? He goes next door to Ukraine.
Yep.
Stop
Yep.
playing with me.
Yep.
Y'all better get your history, know your, as we had in school, geography, and see what the HE-double hockey stick is going on with this crap. Get out there and vote and drag every member. Right now, that's all I'm doing.
I hear you.
And if you ain't talking about getting him out of there, I don't want to hear about impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
Impeachment don't work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear about it. Get your ASS out. I'm upset this morning, but get your ASS out there and your family and drag them out there and vote it. Excuse me. Vote that monkey out. I do apologize, but I'm just so disgusted with this impeachment crap.
I understand.
People hollering impeachment. And the number one thing you need to be doing is getting on your knees praying to God. I don't care what you call him.
Amen.
Have a blessed day, my son.
All right, Miss Mary, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. She's right. She's right. Everybody was hollering, oh, you got to impeach him. Okay, I just need y'all to understand that impeachment does not mean he's going to be removed from office. I just need y'all to understand it. You go through the process. I believe it's right. Yes, they're doing it. That's cool. But if you want him removed, it's about voting. That's what it's going to have to be about. And I need y'all to understand this, that just like impeachment is firing you up, if you don't like what he's doing, impeachment is firing his people up because they do like what he's doing. So I need y'all to understand that and understand that, okay, you're going to see a show with the impeachment. Right? It's going to be some hearings. It's going to be some testimony. It's going to be some documents. It's going to be some facts, right? And it's going to be embarrassing to Donald Trump. But when it gets to the Senate, they're not voting him out of office. You're going to have to do that. You are going to have to do that. Let's go to Bahia from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Bahia.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I just want to say the impeachment still needs to be documented, just like they documented it when he did that racist thing to those 5 women in Congress in the House. It still needs to be documented, I think. Because the first thing when you get on that debate stage, you're going to say, well, why y'all didn't impeach me? Why y'all didn't do anything if I was doing all these bad things? That's what he's going to use against them. I still think the Democrats need to get some balls and take some risk. They never take no risk on anything. That's why, like I said, one thing I can say of Republicans, they stick together. They like glue.
Yeah.
Democrats need to get one word or whatever they use, one sentence, and all do it consecutively. Everything at the same time because they never stick together. That's why they always get them. But they need to have some balls and stick by the black voter. They don't try to pray to these. I'm sorry, I'm not racist, but they try to pray to these whites, and they don't like your policy. They don't. I don't care what policy they put up. They're not going to like it. I work in Bucks County. I see them all the time with their little Confederate flags and all that. So they don't like them because they for for black people. They for immigrants. They don't like them people. They never vote for them anyway. So get some balls and stand by the black voter.
All right, I hear you. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Tanya from South Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Tanya.
I wanted to say that the Congress should impeach him. They should do their due diligence, no matter what the Senate does. If he is, doing impeachable acts, then they need to impeach him. And then the Senate, it needs to be on record, because we can't let him just, he's just tearing up our country, and it's terrible. And somebody needs to do something. And I don't admire the Republicans for sticking together, because to me it's groupthink. And groupthink has led to unnecessary wars and other things. They should stand up for this country. They always talking about being patriots, but they're letting him trample on the Constitution without any kind of,
consequence.
That's the word. Without any consequences. So he needs to be impeached, because it has to be on record. We can't just let him go. And then they talk about being patriots, but we're the military people that was around him. All of them have abandoned him.
Or been fired.
Or been fired. So, but it's nobody jumping to take their place, It's like he's destroying everything he's touching, and he's pushing the envelope. He's just like George Zimmerman to me. They push the envelope. They want you to get him, but nobody's doing it.
Okay. Well, I hear you, and I agree. I think that they should, go through with the impeachment process. I just need the people to understand, right? Because the politicians do. They understand. I need the people to understand that just because they are going through an impeachment process does not mean he is going to be removed from office, because it is a 3-step process. You're going to get the first 2 steps. Articles of impeachment coming out of a committee in the House voting to approve those articles of impeachment. But when it gets to the Republican-controlled Senate, you will not get the 2/3 majority that is necessary to remove him from office, right? And so you're going to get some hearings, you're going to get some documents, you're going to get some testimony, you're going to get some facts coming out, you're going to learn a little bit more about the extent to which this president has violated the Constitution. But when it comes to getting him out, impeachment does not always lead to the person being removed. And in this case, it will not, because the Senate is not going to vote by a 2/3 majority to remove him. I don't know. Does that sound clear to you, Kawesa? Does that sound clear?
Yeah.
Right?
It sounds clear.
Okay. Because I just need the people to understand it. Because I know a lot of us think, impeachment, that means they're going to take him out. No, that's not what's going to happen with this one. This one, right, can only be removed by prayer and fasting, right? This kind, right? We're going to have to vote him out. That's what's going to have to happen, right? And so, kick back, get your popcorn ready, watch the impeachment process and all of that. But just know that at the end of it, you are going to have to vote him out. If you want him removed, you're going to have to vote him out. Congress is not going to be able to do it for you, because the Senate is not going to vote to remove him. All right? So just get your marching shoes ready. Get ready to vote, because that's what this is going to be about. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This can be traced back to our founder, Gottlieb Dietz, who learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, each one of our delicious offerings is meticulously crafted using perfected details. Because if it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. To us, the details make all the difference.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875.
Or visit wordradio.com.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Doctor-Patient Unity. We have delays heavy as you make your way on the Schuylkill Expressway. Both ways are jammed as you expect east and westbound this morning. A heavy ride westbound Vine 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill. Eastbound delays off the Schuylkill through Broad Street. Southbound 95 are jammed from Academy down through Girard. Again, Blue Ridge to Commodore Barry. Heavy northbound delays now Island Avenue through Broad Street. On the Boulevard Route 1 southbound heavy 9th down through Wissahickon. Again, Ridge Avenue in through the Schuylkill Expressway. Northbound delays from Fox Street through Roberts Avenue. 295 both ways into 42. Traffic there. A heavy ride this morning. 42 northbound. That jams from College Drive through 295. 55 northbound is now 47 to 42. Ben Franklin Bridge. Delays there getting busy now the downside in the center city this morning. Surprise medical bills are bankrupting Americans, but insurers refuse to pay their fair share. Doctors support removing patients from billing disputes and letting independent healthcare experts resolve disagreements. Tell Congress to stand with doctors and patients to end surprise billing paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. We want to hear from you. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. Kind of talking through this impeachment thing. Everybody yelled and screamed for impeachment. Well, now it's starting to happen, and I just need y'all to know that it's a three-step process, right? That the House has to vote out articles of impeachment, then the full House has to vote on those articles of impeachment, and then it goes to the Senate. And that is where this impeachment is likely to die, in the Senate, because the Senate is not going to vote by a two-thirds majority to remove the president because the Senate is dominated by Republicans. And so the impeachment process will start just like it did with Bill Clinton, right? It will start, but it will probably not remove him from office. If you really want Donald Trump to be removed from office, it's going to have to be about voting. It's going to have to be about voting, right? So certainly, watch this process. The process needs to happen. There needs to be a check on this president who just continues to break the law. But if you want him removed from office, that's going to come down to you. It's going to come down to voting. I know we like other people to do our work for us, but this is our work. This is the people's work. The people have to decide what it is that they want. And that means getting out to vote. It means getting everybody out in your family to vote. It means getting the people who just got out of jail, get them to vote, because a lot of them don't even know that they can vote in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, you served your time, you can vote. A lot of them don't even know that they can. And so they don't bother to register. They don't want to be embarrassed, right? No, you can vote. Right? And so, it's about getting out that information, letting the people know their power, and then using it in order to get what it is that you want. Period. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Kawesa, the impeachment process that everybody was clamoring for is beginning. How do you feel?
I mean, I know that it's necessary, but I also, understand that, if it was in regards to trying to get him out of office, it's too little too late. So I think that what we need to use this as, a ploy to fire up the base of Democrats and get us out there to vote. And that's what it is, because what I really think is going to happen, you have people out here who are ignorant to what's going to happen with the impeachment process, and they're going to think, oh, I don't have to worry because he's going to be out of office. And that's not the case.
Nope.
And do we really want him? Because then we're going to have Pence. We don't want Pence either.
Nope.
So, we have to look at this strategically and understand that, this is just a means to make sure that we can get our acts together and get out and vote.
That's absolutely. So let's go to the phone lines. Let's talk to Jacob from Olney on line 1. Go ahead, Jacob.
Good morning. Peace be unto you, Solomon.
Peace, brother.
You know, I think everything is happening right on time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Americans need a show with everything.
Yeah.
This man was elected because he was on a show, The Apprentice.
Yep.
Right? And they got to know him and seen his face and everything. And you know what? When you talk about this Senate thing, if every one of them voted, what's that? Let's say 300 votes. That's only 300 votes. If every one of them voted for him, that's what you're talking about. See, we're going to need that show of what the impeachment thing is going to do. It's going to give these people a show because, I mean, you look at, I'm telling you, man, we better wake up and we better stop being dumbed down by things that they just give us on the screen, Hollywood. I mean, you look at the sacredness of marriage, right? They turned it into The Bachelorette and The Bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
Love that kind of stuff, man. It's silliness, Who the heck, Well, anyway, I'm just saying this here. With that impeachment thing is going to give the people the show they need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we can sort of open up and then that will have the fodder to fire the people up, American people, to show what this fool done, right? And then we can go head on and strike the blow and then say, as he said, you're fired.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
What I'm talking about.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD, because that's what the impeachment thing is going. It's going to be a show. It's going to be a show. But I need y'all to understand this, and please, if you don't hear anything else I say, just know this: this impeachment process is not going to remove Donald Trump from office, because the Senate is not going to vote by a 2/3 majority to remove him. Removing him is up to you. You got to vote. I know we want to sit back and be like, oh, great, they doing our work for us. Ain't nobody going to do your work for you. Do people come to your job and do your work for you and you get paid? No, you got to do your work, right? And this is the same thing here. You have to do your work. Enjoy the show. Watch the testimony. See the witnesses paraded before the House. Get your popcorn ready. Do all of that, right? But just know at the end of the day that removing him is going to be up to you. We've seen this. We've seen Mitch McConnell and the Senate just, they have clammed up and said nothing about anything that this dude has done. They're not going to vote him out. You got to do it. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Kenya from Upper Darby on line 2. Go ahead, Kenya.
Good morning, Mr. Solomon.
Good morning.
Just calling to piggyback off of what Miss Mary was saying early on about us coming together and voting. We got to get out there, like you said, take your mama, sister, cousin, whoever.
That's right.
And get him out of there. And like you said, they're not going to do it. We have to do it.
That's right.
And I know all of us are standing fast in prayer about this situation, but we got to come together just like any other nationality. Stand up and let's do what's right.
Yep.
Not just for us, but for our children, our children's children. Come on, people. Just like y'all was out there fighting over a chicken sandwich, be out there and fight for your children and your grandchildren and make a better life and situation for them.
You right.
Let's vote. Let's vote. Act like y'all going to Popeyes and eat that chicken sandwich. And let's get out there, people. The same way we put Obama in office, let's get out there, people, and do what we got to do. That's all I wanted to say, Solomon, and I love your show. And
Thank you.
You and your family continue to be blessed.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. And thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. See, she didn't call y'all out. She didn't call y'all out because you're out here fighting over them doggone Popeyes chicken sandwich. I had one. It was good, Kuwait. I ain't going to lie. That sandwich was good. It was like crispy and it was like hot and it was like, the bun was soft. That sandwich was good, man.
You don't want to die.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. That sandwich was good. You know, I mean, I could see somebody, you know, maybe you throw one punch, but not a whole fight. Not a whole fight over the Popeye chicken sandwich. That sandwich was good, though. I ain't gonna lie. So I don't know. Popeye's a Chick-fil-A. That's the debate. That really is the debate. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Y'all tell me. Popeye's a Chick-fil-A. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Talk about the impeachment process. Doesn't always result in the person being removed from office. Not going to result in the person being removed from office this time. It's going to be a great show. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff. It's going to be entertaining, right? But at the end of the day, getting him out, sorry, still up to you. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go back to the phone lines. Talk to Sheila from Overbrook on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. I just need you to educate me about the Senate. Now, how many are they called members of the Senate or just Senate? What are they called? Senators?
Senators. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how many senators are there?
100.
100.
Yes.
And how many are Republicans?
Let me look that up. But they have the majority.
They do have the majority.
They do. Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm asking is because I remember when Clinton when they were trying to impeach him, and I wrote a letter to Arlen Specter, who was a Republican.
Yep.
And he wrote me back, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking in terms of him and what's his name that just passed, McCain.
Yes.
Do you think that there are enough, are they called moderate Republicans? What are they called?
Yeah, you can call them moderates.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there are enough to get them to swing over to vote this guy out?
No.
No, not enough.
No. Nope.
You think they're all just super right-wing people?
So here we are. So there are...
I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay. In the Senate, there are 51 Republicans, there are 47 Democrats, and there are 2 independents, both of whom caucus with Democrats. So the Republicans have a slim majority, right? They have a majority. They have, it's like 51 to 49, right? That's their majority, right? The problem is that it's not a matter of a simple majority, right? Which would mean 51 out of 100 for impeachment. For impeachment to happen, you have to vote for impeachment by a 2/3 majority. And so even though Democrats have almost the same amount of senators as Republicans do, you would need, let's see, 27? No, you would need 17 Republicans to cross over and vote with the Democrats, right, to get that 2/3 majority. No, you would need 27. So that's not something that's going to happen, right? You would need almost half the Republicans to cross over and vote with the Democrats in order to get that majority. Let me just make sure I got my math right. Nope, it's 17. So you would need 17 Republicans to cross over. It's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And so what it means is that you are not going to reach the 2/3 majority in the Senate that you need to actually remove him. Now, the House will vote for the articles of impeachment, and they'll say, you know, he's a bad dude, and have hearings around it and have evidence and all of that, and you'll see all of that. But in order to actually remove him, we're going to have to vote him out because the Senate is not going to do it. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. You know, part of my job is just education, man. Educating our people so that we understand how this system works. Again, impeachment, 3-step process. Articles of impeachment voted out of a committee in the House, usually the House Judiciary Committee. Then those articles of impeachment, which are the accusations, right? Against the president. They go before the whole House. The whole House votes to approve them. Then it goes to the Senate for a trial. The Chief Justice, who would be John Roberts, would oversee a trial in the Senate. And then they would hear the evidence, and then they would vote. And unless you get a 2/3 majority to vote this dude out, he's going to stay in office. Same thing happened with Bill Clinton. It got to the Senate. They did not vote by a 2/3 majority to get him out. That just wasn't going to happen. Right? So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. The bottom line is this. It's up to you. 215-634-8065 is the number. You can call to get in. I'm getting one more caller in. Let's go to Richard from Mount Airy on line 1. Go ahead, Richard.
Good morning. Love your show, brother.
Thank you, man.
Listen, Washington, D.C., Clinton, you know, back in the day, during his term, all these senators, congressmen, and all had pages and honeys on the side. That's why he stayed in office. There's so many women in Washington. That's the culture up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say.
All right. All right. I hear you, man. And all you got to do is go to, and I hate to say it, go down to Congressional Black Caucus. See what's going on. You know what I mean? He's got a point. I'm going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to continue our conversation with you. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Reality check. Reality check.
Hosted by Charles Ellison.
Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Right here on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on WordRadio.com.
If you're looking for a great paying part-time job with flexible hours, check out 2020 Census Jobs. You may have another job or not. You may even be retired or looking for some extra income, but you can also help make sure that everyone gets counted. So apply today at 2020census.gov/jobs to help strengthen your community.
We filmed Pennsylvania adoptive families and asked them why more people need to become foster or adoptive parents.
As a society, we have a responsibility to make sure every kid gets from being a kid to being a responsible adult.
I would encourage anybody to do it. You get so much more out of it than you expect.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Doctor-Patient Unity. We have delays heavy as you make your way on the Schuylkill Expressway. Both ways are jammed as you expect, east and westbound this morning. A heavy ride westbound Vine 8th out through Broad and Parkway through the Schuylkill. Eastbound delays off the Schuylkill through Broad Street. Southbound 95 are jammed from Academy down through Girard. Again, Blue Route to Commodore Barry. Heavy northbound delays now Island Avenue through Broad Street. On the Boulevard, Route 1 southbound heavy 9th down through Wissahickon. Again, Ridge Avenue in through the Schuylkill Expressway. Northbound delays from Fox Street through Roberts Avenue. 295 both ways into 42. Traffic there. A heavy ride this morning. 42 northbound. That jams from College Drive through 295. 55 northbound is now 47 to 42. Ben Franklin Bridge. Delays there. Getting busy now the downside into Center City this morning. Surprise medical bills are bankrupting Americans, but insurers refuse to pay their fair share. Doctors support removing patients from billing disputes and letting independent healthcare experts resolve disagreements. Tell Congress to stand with doctors and patients to end surprise billing, paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
What we saw was misconduct by police. As Malcolm X said, American democracy is nothing but disguised hypocrisy. If you did see the video and you did nothing, you need to go.
And now, Lynn Washington, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Our first guest is Lynn Washington Jr. Lynn Washington, of course, is a professor of journalism at Temple University. He is the co-founder of the award-winning the Urban Reporting Lab at Temple University. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Len, good morning.
How you doing, Solomon?
I'm good, man. This impeachment thing got me tongue-tied, Len.
I know what you mean. I woke up in the middle of a mess.
Man, oh man, oh man. This is crazy. So Nancy Pelosi finally reads the handwriting on the wall, says, okay, the people want impeachment. I've been trying to explain the impeachment process this morning to our listeners so they understand that it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be removed from office, Len. So let's talk about it. So what made, in your view, Nancy Pelosi change her mind, and what's the likely outcome of this inquiry?
Well, as you rightly noted, Nancy Pelosi saw the handwriting on the wall. Not only were the allegations of improper conduct, the type of conduct that supposedly would fit the four corners, as they say legally, of the Constitution's trigger point for impeachment, which is high crimes and misdemeanors, but people within her own party, her own caucus in Congress, were now saying, well, listen, we're okay with proceeding with an impeachment, particularly the moderate, so-called moderate Republicans Democrats who were in districts that Trump won in 2016, but they were able to win in 2018. So there was as we say, a confluence of events that pushed Nancy Pelosi off the dime to have her support impeachment. But interestingly, from what's been out there so far, she wants to put together a supra committee to take a look at this and not follow through the procedures in terms of having the House
the Judiciary Committee?
The Judiciary Committee take a look at it. So she wants to be in control of the committee.
Okay.
So we still have politics, but impeachment is inherently political, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's a political process, and it's really the process that Mueller was pointing to when he gave them his report. He's like, all right, look, this is the stuff he did. I can't indict him because of the Justice Department rules, but you can impeach him. So here it is. Here's all the stuff you need. They didn't want to go forward with it then.
No, they didn't. And there was and is more than enough evidence to bring charges of impeachment. This alleged conduct with Ukraine is just the latest. I mean, here we have a guy who's personally enriching himself in the presidency, reworking military flights so they are able to fly into airports and gas up at more cost than in military bases so that the people who are on those planes could stay at his hotel. And it's interesting. Here's a guy who professes to be a billionaire. I'm one of the richest people in the world, although there's 180 people richer than me, but I'm one of the richest people. But I ain't giving up a dime to help anybody do anything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Money, then give them free rooms. You can charge them for breakfast, but give them free rooms. It's ridiculous, Solomon. And then this piece with the Ukraine, the underlying element here, that's a real tricky wicket there. And I don't know if anybody wants that ball of wax opened up. And I'm not talking about Joe Biden's son, the guy who's been caught with cocaine a couple of times. Getting a $15,000 a month job on the board of some gas company over there in Ukraine. Between 1991 and 2013, the United States spent $50 billion trying to woo the Ukraine to be a part of the West.
Right.
That's a lot of money. Now they're going to spend $50 billion in the Ukraine to promote democracy, but they won't spend $100,000 in the United States or in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia to make sure that our elections run properly, that our machines are okay. And then who gets those jobs of that $50 billion to promote democracy in Ukraine? It ain't people that look like you and me. We're not in those think tanks where we sit around and we think about what kind of policies should we have.
You're right.
Then parallel to all of this is the scum factor like Paul Manafort. I mean, part of Manafort's conviction was for illegal conduct that he did related to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
There's a lot to this.
There is, and they've been hooked up with these countries from the beginning. And I think that with Donald, if this was somebody else, maybe you let it ride and wait until the election, and because he's not going to do it again. Okay, I got away with this. I'm not going to do anything else because I know I don't want to take my chances. No, this is the kind of guy who he already did this with Russia. You already worked with Russia to get in office in the first place, right? And now you're going to try to do it again with Ukraine and do it over the phone, Lynn. Drug dealers don't even do business over the phone.
I know. They have burner phones. I mean, should Trump have gotten burner phones or call using the daughter's phone, Marcus' phone, or Jared's phone? And then he did this, allegedly, a few days after the Mueller testimony in Congress related to the previous misconduct with Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. It's in your face. But legally, this has to be done just to preserve democracy. And while it's flawed, just like, Malcolm X says, democracy is disguised hypocrisy, got that. But for the rule of law to move forward in this country, they have to take some action against him. He being Trump is telling his people, don't recognize congressional subpoenas, don't do this, don't do that, we're hiding this. But this is a moment where the Democrats have to prove that they can walk and chew gum at the same time. They have to do this impeachment, but they also have to do better messaging. And that better messaging is to fire up the base for these congressional elections and these senatorial elections. Yes, have the impeachment, have it come out of the House, go into the Senate. You've been right for weeks saying that the Republicans are never going to vote. Well, it appears that they would never vote for impeachment. But it's going to bring out so much stuff that I think it's going to do two things. One, it'll fire up some Democrats to come out who would sit back if they didn't do impeachment. But it may turn some of these rabid Trump supporters to seeing who this guy is. I mean, think about Kentucky. We have high levels of poverty. And what would, the average Kentuckian who loves the ground Donald Trump walks on, who can't pay their rent at the end of the month,
right?
How are they going to feel knowing that Donald Trump has spent over $100 million just paying golf since he's been in office? How are they going to feel in Arkansas knowing that Donald Trump is cutting their food stamps, yet the U.S. government is paying for protection for his two sons when they go overseas to do business for the Trump organization? So when, if they start messaging and showing how this guy is costing them money and money that could be used to help them, I think that'll help turn things around. Unfortunately, real issues like climate change, where, the Trump administration is telling California, you can't cut auto emissions when auto emissions is what's causing you to have bad air in California. But so there's a lot of issues that have to come to bear. And I don't know if the Democrats are going to stand up across the board because they, to me, they appear weak. But
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The bottom line for me is that given that it's so unlikely that the Senate is going to vote to remove him from office. Again, you need a 2/3 majority, which means you need 17 Republicans to cross over and vote with Democrats. I've never seen it happen in recent years. Not going to happen this time because they're afraid for their own skin. Because they if I vote for impeachment, that means I'm out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it really is going to come down to the people. The people have to get fired up by the facts that are going to come out with this impeachment inquiry, and we have to vote them out.
Yeah, and it takes that two-pronged strategy. Do what you have to do in terms of bringing his crimes up in a constitutional context with this impeachment, but also you have to do the ground game and get people out to vote in the elections next year, and make sure that the elections, that there's some election integrity and protection in terms of the machines, and trying to block what Russia's going to do, what Iran and North Korea may try to do. But it's time to come real, man.
Yeah.
When I saw that figure of $50 billion to undermine or to supposedly promote democracy in the Ukraine, and thinking of all the deprivations that American citizens are enduring, that $50 billion could have gone gone a long way. And also, let's remember where Ukraine is. Ukraine is right on the border of Russia. Now, you think Russia's not going to do something about that? Try to, push back on it? It's like if China came in and set up a military operation in Mexico, or the unthinkable, North Korea and Iran get together and they come in and try to do something in Canada. Well, yeah, we'll help you develop your tar sands, and, who cares about the environment? America would have a fit. Yet it's okay to do something in Ukraine, which is right on the border of Russia. And historically, when Napoleon invaded Russia or tried to invade Russia, where did he come? Through Ukraine. When Nazi Germany tried to do the same thing, where did they come? Through Ukraine. When they broke up the Soviet Union, one of the deals was, okay, we'll get rid of our, Eastern European empire, but you keep NATO away from us. And what did NATO do? Under Clinton and others, went right up to the Russian border. And you don't think that the Russian bear is not going to say, yo, I don't like you doing this in my neighborhood. It's naive thinking at the best.
Yeah, it's going to be deep. That is Len Washington. He is a professor of journalism at Temple University, where he's a co-founder of the award-winning multimedia urban reporting lab. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Len, thanks so much.
Okay, Solomon. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Been trying to figure out how to put this, Kawesa, in terms of a question. The impeachment process has begun. Is it real? Or is it Memorex? I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. Kawesa got a blank expression because she don't remember that commercial. She not old enough to remember that. But, yeah, that's when cassette tapes was out.
I remember the brand, though.
Yeah,
I do remember the brand.
That's when cassette tapes was out. She like, huh? What? Yeah, you gotta be about my age, maybe 5 or 6 years younger.
Tapes?
Yeah, but you don't
VHS?
remember the commercial.
No, I don't.
You don't remember that?
Not at all.
That was their whole thing. Is it real or is it Memorex? Right? Meaning, is it real or is it fake? Is it something that is really going to result in him being removed from office? I say no, but that's okay. Because I believe that it has to be done anyway, because the people need to be fired up, and Democrats need to learn to dumb it down a little bit, have a real simple message, a message that people can understand and grab hold to, right? A message that will make people actually come out in the streets and do what they need to do in terms of voting. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. I'm going to go back to the phone lines in a couple minutes, and we're going to talk to you about this impeachment thing. Is it real or is it Memorex? David Howe says on Facebook, is nothing more than a fix and setup by Trump. If this was the smoking gun, why did they not seek a statement from the Ukrainian government? Watch for the trick play. The whistleblower refuses to testify or recants his statement. If this was the deal breaker, why not have an FBI investigation that had the evidence in hand? Smoke and mirrors to the max. America is racist to the core. So that's what David Howe has to say about it. What else are they saying on Facebook about this whole thing? Let's see. Arnold Thornton says this. Good morning, Brother Solomon. On the issue of impeachment, at first, I didn't want them to impeach, but I understand this. When your back is up against the wall and you're backed into a corner, you have no other alternative but to come out and fight. And by having Pelosi do this, all the Democrats should rally around her, plus the people that wanted impeachment should rally around the Democrats and then vote him out in 2020. I think he's right. I think he's right. And here's the deep thing, right? Here's the three-level chess. Suppose Donald Trump wanted them to go for impeachment because he knew that that would fire up his base. Suppose he knew, okay, y'all go for impeachment, but I know the Senate is not going to vote to have me removed. So you can do all of these hearings and all of this stuff, and all I'm going to do is use it to fire up my base and keep me in office. Right? And by the way, y'all going to lose those seats in the House that you got during the last election, and you might just lose your majority in the House, and then I'm going to have the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. Like, suppose he wanted him to do this. Like, I don't know. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. I am of the mind at this point that even though it is a huge risk for Democrats, you got to do what's right, man. You got to do what's right and let the chips fall where they may. But while you're doing what's right and while you're waiting for those chips to fall, you need to have some strategy in place. You need to understand that this has to be a 2- or 3-pronged attack, where you have, on the one hand, the impeachment proceedings going on in the legislature, but on the other hand, you have your political process going on in the street, where you figure out who your candidate is, who is your VP, and you line up behind them and push and push and push until they win. Right? Because this has to be something that you attack on multiple levels. You got to think about it as more than just this legislative process. Let's go to Evelyn from Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Yeah, good morning. How y'all?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. You know, I'm really praying and everything because, like, Donald Trump is a brilliant man, and I'm sure that he done cover this step. But, you know, I'm like you said yesterday, you said that we just got to do something, try something. So, you know, I just pray that, you know, we make it through, because if not, what is the penalty that we're going to have to pay if it go wrong?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the frightening thing.
You're right. You're right. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone. Let's talk to Billy from Mount Airy on line 2. Go ahead, Billy.
Hey, Solomon, how are you?
Good, and you?
Great. I just called because listening to this, that we truly need to go forward with impeachment. I mean, I don't think I started there, but like just looking at the strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, when we elect our leaders, we expect them to hold up our standards and our values.
That's right.
And it's bigger than just each election. It's about like the core values of what the Democratic Party is supposed to stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump still represents that top 1% that always gets away with everything. And if our leaders continue to let this 1% continue to get away with it, why is it telling us to support the process?
Mm-hmm.
We've always been screwed by that percentage, and here we are. This is our one chance of doing the right thing. It may not work, but if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. As Coesa quoted Martin Luther King the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that this is the time that Pelosi has made a stance. We have Dwight Evans there. We have a lot of people around us that think like us. Either you go down fighting or you shouldn't even be in the arena.
I hear you, man.
That's my 2 cents on it.
I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to continue our conversation with you. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Solomon Jones. Wake up with Word.
Akbar Hassan. Let's talk about a simple budget, because there's many ways to do a budget. Okay. All right, with a budget, what I would recommend is you take your total take-home income for the month, then you subtract from that your fixed expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Your fixed expenses are your rent, your utilities, car payments, anything fixed, and then you do a subtotal. Everything after that are going to be your variable expenses. All right, your food costs, any entertainment expenses, anything that doesn't fit in that fixed category. Then you're going to get your net total. The bottom line, that's the amount you want to throw in the savings.
Download the full podcast now
at WordRadio.com. Don't miss Wake Up with Word.
Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Black Talk Media.
Listen live at WordRadio.com. Now, with more clarity, this is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live at WordRadio.com.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Doctor-Patient Unity. Traffic at a jam. Still I-95 in Philly. Southbound side, your jammed Academy down through Girard. Again, Ridley Park to Highland. Northbound side busy from the airport through Broad Street. Again, Penn's Landing through the Vine Expressway. Westbound Vine delays from 8th Street out through the Schuylkill Expressway. Eastbound off the Schuylkill through 8th, you're slow there. Schuylkill Expressway itself, both ways, east and westbound. You're at a jam ride this morning on the Blue Route 476 southbound Mid-County through the Schuylkill. Heavy jammed again, Broomall to Media Swarthmore. Northbound jam 95 to Route 1. Westbound Turnpike jam Willow Grove through Fort Washington. 295 northbound, 47 to 42 heavy, then jam 42 up to Route 30. Accident there off to the shoulder, southbound 70 into 42. Busy. Surprise medical bills are bankrupting Americans, but insurers refuse to pay their fair share. Doctors support removing patients from billing disputes and letting independent healthcare experts resolve disagreements. Tell Congress to stand with doctors and patients to end surprise billing, paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We want to hear from you. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We're talking about the impeachment process. Is it real or is it Memorex? Is it real or is it fake? Is it something that is going to result in him being removed from office? I say no. Simply based on the numbers, the Republicans have a slim majority in the Senate, but that is enough of a majority to keep that from being voted out of the Senate. Again, you need a 2/3 majority in the Senate in order for the president to be removed. And so while they will likely vote it out of the House, where Democrats have a majority, it is not going to be voted out of the Senate. And so certainly we'll hear some things, right? We'll get some evidence. We'll see some paperwork. We'll hear some testimony. We'll see some hearings. Things will get fiery. But at the end of the day, the Senate is highly unlikely to remove the president from office. So even if all of the Democrats in the Senate vote to remove him, which is unlikely because you have what's called blue dog Democrats. Those are very conservative Democrats, right, who are Democrats, but in many of their positions, they're Republican, right? Joe Manchin from West Virginia comes to mind, right? He's in the House. So even in the Senate, right? Even in the Senate, if you have all of the Democrats vote for impeachment, you still need 17 Republicans to cross over, along with 2 independents. I just don't see it happening, right? And so what that means is that, enjoy the impeachment process, enjoy the testimony, and sit down and watch all of that and talk about it around the water cooler. But just know that at the end of the day, that process is not going to remove him from office. We have to remove him from office. So that means that the people got to get out and vote. And I don't know that we are going to be able, Kawesa, to get that message out to everybody. I don't know if everybody's going to understand that, because, government can be complicated and people got they got everyday things that they got to worry about. You know what I mean? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to fix this car that keeps breaking down? Like, they don't have time to know every single thing about an impeachment process. They hear impeachment, they like, oh, bet he's going to be removed from office. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. You have to vote him out. So, and we got to get that message out to our folks so that they understand that, no, you still got some responsibility. Because it's one thing that people love, Tuwesa. We love to put our responsibilities on other people, right? Oh, man, I ain't got to do it no more? Oh, they going to do it for me? Nah, it's still our responsibility.
Yeah, it definitely is our responsibility. And we have to remember that if your vote, wasn't that important, then they wouldn't be fighting so hard to take it away from you. They wouldn't be fighting so hard to make it more difficult for you to be able to get out there and have your voice be heard. And so, make sure that you understand that. And this is no matter what. I mean, even if they had started this impeachment process, way early on and got him out, you still need to come back and vote in the next election. So don't let this, this situation make you feel like, oh, I don't got to worry about anything. We're all good. No, you still have to worry about it. You still have to get out there and do what's necessary. So then that way we don't have to deal with this same nonsense in the next election.
That's right.
Like, come on.
That's right. That's right. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. If you've been under a rock for the last 24 hours, let me report to you that Nancy Pelosi has started an impeachment inquiry. That means that they have started the impeachment process. They are likely to put together articles of impeachment, vote them out of a committee, and then vote on them before the entire House. There will be hearings. There will be evidence. There will be documents. There will be a circus. But at the end of the day, the Senate probably not going to get that 2/3 majority they need to remove him from office, which means that even after this process begins, it's still going to be up to you to vote him out. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number. You can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Eugenia from South Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Eugenia.
Good morning, Solomon and Kuwaitsa.
Good morning.
To the Word family. I just saw the machines yesterday, and the voting machines.
Yes.
And one of the things that I didn't like about it was that if you made a mistake, you would have to get in the end of the line to start all over again. They'll allow you 3 mistakes, and they call it the spoil 1, spoil 2, or spoil 3. But you would have to get in the back of the line, and I don't think people are willing to do that. Now, on the Nancy Pelosi thing, I was praying that she didn't do that. I think the loss is too great, because we know that, based off of your information and research and whatever, that, the impeachment is not going to happen. It's going to happen, but it's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's unnecessary. I prayed, God knows I did. When I looked at on the TV, I knew that's what, she was coming to say that. But I just don't see the effort, the time. I believe we need to be rallying up the troops, the Democratic people, and doing everything that we can to get the people out to vote, help them understand. I talk to people everywhere, on the bus. Everywhere I go, I'm talking to people about WURD and this voting process right now, and helping them to understand, and knowing that they have a right to go to city council. They're paying taxes, city wage tax. Go find out what the city, how they're spending your money.
Mm-hmm.
Go see what's going on. You're paying for Comcast. You can see it on the TV. You can hear it on WURD, city council. And this is what I tell the people. We got to get fired up.
Yeah.
If anything short of that, people are going to suffer. And I think it's just too great a move for the Democrats to go through this process. That's my opinion.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go back to the phone lines, talk to Cliff from Connecticut on line 2.
Thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, you covered the impeachment. I'm just tuning in. So you covered the impeachment process, but now we're talking about the voting.
Yes.
Even though he doesn't get taken out through the impeachment process,
Mm-hmm.
now we have a right to vote.
Yeah.
So yet we're still dealing with the electoral college process. So with that being said, so how do we get out our vote? And here's the problem that I see, that we cannot get out the young black voters that had a great impact with President Obama. And I believe we can't appeal to them with these 3 white, with Warren and with Sanders or with Biden. You know what I mean? I don't think we can bring and draw them out. And so here's my question to you. What if we were, as a people, if we all, and I'm just getting your opinion, what if we all were to do a write-in? Say, for example, the black community, 90% of the black community went and wrote in Michelle Obama as a write-in. What type of impact would that make to the Democratic Party in terms of not taking us for granted in our voting process?
Michelle Obama don't want to be president.
Well, I'm just saying, but just to show some unity and also to be a force in terms of being collective that we are no longer taken for granted. Because I don't know when we're going to get another black president. And to have Elizabeth Warren and to have Joe Biden, clearly we don't know how they're going to represent us. Quite clearly, we know Kamala Harris and also Cory Booker have already passed anti-lynch legislation. They have already taken action. But we haven't seen anything coming from the top 3 white candidates. So the black people are not going to come out, I believe. The youth are not going to come out, and that's the vote we need in order to overcome.
So what are you prepared to do to get the youth to come out?
You know, that's what I'm saying, is that if we can appeal and get them to appeal and get a write-in campaign, we need the participation of our black youth. So some kind of way we need to entice them to get involved. Other than that, I don't see them voting for 3 old white people.
Why would you tell them to write in somebody who has said they don't want to run for president?
Okay.
Why would we do that?
Then write in Kamala Harris or vote for Kamala Harris.
Why? She's at like 5%. Why would we do that?
So, Brother Solomon, this is my point. Here we go again. We as black people got to pick the best of the white people in order to lead us, and that's not. I myself, I'm going to vote, but I myself is tired of that. I'm tired of. I don't trust Biden. I don't like Warren, and I simply don't like Bernie Sanders. I like Kamala Harris. But black people don't like Kamala Harris because for whatever reason. And so here we go. We got to pick the best out of the 2 white boys, the 3 whites, in order to beat another white. You know, and I'm just tired of the white thing.
Yeah, that's not, for me, that's not the issue now. For me, it is, and I want to thank you, Cliff, for your call and for your opinion this morning. For me, the issue is that we get the best candidate that we possibly can, and that we then hold that candidate accountable. And that's what the electoral process is. You know, that's why Donald Trump calling up the Ukrainian president, trying to get him to help him smear Joe Biden, because he knows that it's gut check time. It's time for accountability now. You've done what you've done, and now the people get ready to come for you. And so that's what it's about. It's about getting the best candidate we possibly can. Sometimes that's a black person. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. Gotta be honest. You know what I mean? There's been a whole lot of folk that look like us that have sold us out. All my skin folk ain't my kin folk. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, just because the person is black doesn't mean that they going to do what's best for our community. Sometimes they going to take the bag of money and run. Sometimes it's like that. You know what I mean? So you got to figure out who's the best candidate, and then you have to hold them accountable. You know, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the show with Pastor Alan Waller. He had some interesting things to say in Rolling Stone, and we actually talked about, you know, the rift between young black people and older black people. And so Cliff makes a good point about that rift. How do you heal it? How do you bring people on board? And how do you do something that we can all unite around? You know, we're not going to get another Obama candidate anytime soon, somebody who's just inspirational on his own, right? And so you got to figure out, okay, what are your interests? What do you want? How do you get them? And then you hold them accountable from there. I don't know, man. But Kawesa, you shaking your head like this whole writing in Michelle Obama thing. What do you think?
I don't agree with it. And the reason that I don't agree with it is because, and I'm a younger person. You know, I'm not, my whole thing is that Republicans are playing chess and we're out here playing checkers.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that whomever the Democratic candidate is, then we support them and we go with them, because we cannot continue to have another 4 years of this foolishness and this nonsense in office. And I think that that's what people need to understand. You know, sometimes, you know, I get it. Your vote is important, but I'm going to vote independent. I'm going to vote. No, like, vote for it in the way that it's going to help us later on in the future, because you writing in the person who's only going to get 1% of the vote is just taking away votes from the Democratic
from the real person who's going to, like, you know, we tried that foolishness before, and we can't do it. We can't do it, man. You know, I still remember people, smart people. Oh, we can afford to lose an election. Okay, now they got 2 Supreme Court seats. right? And the Supreme Court decides how the law actually is applied in this country. So I'm looking at the latest polling numbers from Real Clear Politics, and it has Biden at 25. It's a Quinnipiac poll, right? It's a very influential poll. Has Biden at 25, Warren at 27, Sanders at 16, Buttigieg at 7, Harris at 3, Yang at 2, O'Rourke at 2, Booker at 0, Klobuchar at 2, Castro at 2, Gabbard at 1, Bennett at 1, right? The Politico poll, it's very different. It's a very different poll. That one was taken on Wednesday by Quinnipiac. This one was taken on Tuesday by Politico. It has Biden at 32 and Warren at 20, right? So it's a big gap between those two polls. But the thing that I see in all of these polls is that Biden, Sanders, and Warren are the three top candidates. They are the three top candidates in all of these polls. And it's Biden at the top in most of them. In one of them, Warren has overtaken him. And so, you got to decide, man, who's your best candidate? Who's going to do the most for you? How you going to hold them accountable? And move forward from there. But writing in people that aren't going to win, no. No. That's a waste, in my view. That's my opinion. Let's go to Greg from East Falls on line 1. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, how you doing there, Solomon?
Good, and you?
All right. I've always said that, we can chew bubble gum and at the same time. I think that's politics 101. You do the impeachment like the young lady was saying. The impeachment is not going to get him out, but you got to understand the sophistication of this process. What you use the impeachment process to really expose why. Because here's the question you asked: like Lynn said, it's the messaging, and from the impeachment process, it has to come out, and you have to have the right people doing the impeachment, doing the questioning, to bring out why he needs to go. So, to me, I've always supported the impeachment process because, I saw what they did with Bill Clinton. They never got him out of office, but they damaged him with that.
Yeah.
And the Republican Party, man, they don't play. Like, they don't play. Like, and I don't see that from a Democrat. Like, you got to go for it. You got to go. At least people will say you went in there. And people ain't stupid, Solomon. We know that this man is crazy. We need our representatives to at least represent that, regardless of the outcome. But at least I want to be able to say that the White Evans, you went there, you stayed true to this, you knew this was going on, I knew what was going on, and at least you put up that good fight. Fight. So I'm for that, man.
All right. All right, I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines and talk with Joanne from Overbrook on line 3. Go ahead, Joanne.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Just like you had your little famous saying, is it real or is it memorized?
Mm-hmm.
I have a saying also.
Okay.
What I'd like for somebody to do is that knows a lot about technology to get the information to the people that have the authority to do. My quote is, if he did it once, he'll do it again. And you know how many times he's did it. So pass that quote on also. Keep up the good work, and God bless.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you, too. Thank you so much for your call. Let's go to Gail from Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I just want to say I concur with you a lot on what's been said. But most of all, people have to think. Yes, it happened before. We saw what happened to Bill Clinton. He was still in.
Yep.
But it was incumbent upon the people to put him back in. And you have to think about that. Now, for him, it's incumbent upon the people to make sure that he gets out. Him and his whole administration has to be removed. And those states where they will watch closely are the ones that we have to really have our end game. And that's where it comes to all these grassroots organizations. It's got to be strategically, and it has to be commitment there in order for us to take this and win and get him out and be done with it, because things have to change, and it comes down to the people.
All right. All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. We're going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to talk with our next guest about the taxes in Philadelphia and who's getting the most tax breaks. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
If you want to start your morning with mindfulness, motivation, and inspiration, tune in to Daybreak with me, Halana, here on WURD Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. I am a health and wellness coach with over 15 years experience helping people to transform their lives. On the show, we talk health and wellness 360, from getting your mind right to getting your money right. So let's rise and shine together right here on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial on Daybreak every morning.
The stadium is ready. The team is ready. But are you ready for the Eagles' favorite shake? The Shamrock Shake? It's a delicious Philly original that's ready to rock the taste buds of Eagles fans across Philadelphia. Made with creamy vanilla soft serve, mint-flavored deliciousness, and topped with light whipped topping. Fly, don't walk to get yours today. At participating McDonald's for a limited time only. Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. And we're going to switch gears a little bit, talk about taxes here in the city of Philadelphia with our next guest, Tribune correspondent James McGinnis. Good morning, James. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on, Solomon. I'm a fan of the show, and I love investigative journalism, and getting to talk about it is just the icing on the cake for me, so thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome, man. Thank you for your reporting. So you did a piece on the property tax breaks in cities across the country and where Philadelphia ranks. What did you look at in terms of tax breaks in cities across the country?
So what was really interesting about this, and one of the things that spurred this, was we found this report that the city of Philadelphia had put out, and that report, in the bottom of it, had a map, and that map showed the places that were getting the tax breaks. So we knew, as journalists, that if the city had a map that had the places, that they must have the actual data somewhere where you could map this out and you could see where the people were that were getting the tax breaks. And when we contacted the city and said, listen, we know you have this information and we want it. And we filed a request. It took about a month for the city to actually give us the records. But then once we mapped it out, we saw that certain areas of the city, particularly predominantly African-American areas of the city, not getting the kind of tax breaks as you would see in places like Rittenhouse Square, riverfront areas, wealthier areas of the city getting more of these tax breaks than places that are predominantly black.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so when you looked at the map, you looked at the property values as well. So what were the what was the breakdown? Where did you break it down, and what did you find?
So when you get this very long list from the city, the average property on the list is valued at about $1.1 million. And as I'm sure your listeners can, that's just not the average home in the city of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So when you do the average, it's about $1.1 million. If you take that long list, it's more than 15,000 properties, and you do the middle point on that list, which is sometimes called the median. So the middle point is about $443,000. Again, much more expensive than the average home in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And so so when you talk about the property tax breaks, is it just the tax abatement here in the city of Philadelphia, or is it more?
There are. I would encourage your listeners to take advantage of these programs because other people are. There are a number of different programs which you'll find on the Philadelphia City website, which you can use if you're fixing up your home, if you're going to want to build something. There are tax breaks for businesses. There are some well-known properties. Sugar House Casino is on this list. So there are a number of different programs that people can take advantage of. They're complicated. They have different years that they last. But I would encourage, if I own property in the city of Philadelphia, I'm a renter, but if I own property, I'd be looking at this list. Yeah.
And so you talked about the complicated nature of these tax breaks. So what do you mean? I mean, what kind of paperwork, like how do you go about getting these tax breaks? And could that be something that's been an impediment to poor people, to people of color getting them?
So, as I said, there's a number of different programs. They're on the City of Philadelphia's website, and some are if you are making repairs to your property, and you can document that, and you can file paperwork with the city. But then there are other programs that are if you are going to rehabilitate an industrial site or a commercial site, you can also apply for these. But some of these programs exist at the city level, some exist at the state level, and all across the country there are different types of programs that people can tap into. The Tribune, just a quick plug for investigative journalism, the Tribune really is dedicated to asking big questions, digging into these issues, and the Tribune's president, Robert Vogel, and Irv Randolph, the executive editor, said, we want to understand this and how Philadelphia compares to other cities.
So when you looked at the neighborhoods, what neighborhoods jumped out in terms of who's getting, in particular, the tax abatement?
So there's a particular area, a particular block, I should say, along South Front Street between Walnut and Sampson Walk, sort of along on Walnut Street, Philadelphia, where you have several properties, 15 of them on a single square block, total valued at $30 million.
15 properties valued at a total of $30 million. So that's an average of $2 million a piece.
Yeah, and there's 15 just on that one square block of homes. I would invite your listeners, if they want to go on to the Philadelphia Tribune's website, the second paragraph, there is a link. You can go to a clickable map, and you can explore. You can see the neighborhoods and the homes in your neighborhood that are getting tax breaks, what kind of tax breaks they're getting, what kind of money they're getting off their taxes. Again, this is all legal. They're not doing anything illegal, but under the current law, people are taking advantage of this. And you can explore your own neighborhood and see what's going on there.
How much of a tax break are they getting on this $30 million? Did you count a total?
Oh, so I'm afraid I don't have that information handy off the top of my head right now for this interview.
Okay.
I can get that to you, but you're asking a bit too much of me right now on the air. I don't have that handy right now.
Well, one thing I know is this, that a portion of property taxes are supposed to go to schools. They are mandated by law to go to schools. Do you know what that proportion is?
In terms of, so the estimates of this, if they were to end all these tax breaks, the city's school district would get, I think, about $60 million more. So the revenue to the school district would be about $60 million more if the city were to just say, we're going to get rid of all these tax breaks. That $60 million is not a lot of money in terms of, well, it's a lot of money to us, but when you look at the Philadelphia School District's budget, which is a very large number, $60 million is not exactly going to make our school system a lot better funded. It's $60 million.
It pays for teachers. It pays for lead abatement. It pays for asbestos abatement. Our kids are no longer getting mesothelioma, lead poisoning. They've got better teachers. They fixed that glass door on the school where I volunteer. So I think, I would quibble with that a little bit. Like, we need all our money for our kids, all of it, every penny.
I'm not disputing that. You can certainly do a lot with $60 million. But when you look at the size of the Philadelphia School District budget, it's in the trillions of dollars. And to $50 million, you're not going to see your taxes go down. You're not going to see the building dozens of more schools, unfortunately, if they were to end these tax breaks.
Yeah, well, I need my kids getting that money. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I need my kids getting that money and not somebody with a $2 million house. So that's where I'm at on it. And so you're looking at certain neighborhoods. Now, what neighborhoods are getting the least tax breaks according to your map?
So when we mapped this out and we looked at the different communities, areas like Strawberry Mansion, areas like Grays Ferry, you do not see many people in those particular areas applying for these programs or being part of these programs. And I'm sorry, I don't have all the figures in front of me right now, but if you do click on them, if you do go on our website and click on the map, you can see the neighborhoods specifically. You can explore them, and you'll see that predominantly African American areas just are not a part of these programs.
And so suffice it to say that the poorer neighborhoods are not part of these programs to the same extent that this one block in Center City that has, in Old City rather, that has 15 houses valued at $30 million. You don't see the same extent of people taking advantage of that in, say, West Philly.
No, you do not.
Okay.
No, you do not. At least based on the data that we were provided by the city of Philadelphia, you do not see that.
Okay, and so did the city talk about the advantage in their view of doing these programs, even though they take money away from the school district? What in their view was the advantage of doing these programs? Did you ask them about that?
Yeah. So I mean, the city says that these tax breaks encourage development. They provide jobs for construction, for trade unions. They lead to more increased development in the city. And keep in mind that at some point, these tax breaks last for a certain period of time. And again, there's different timelines on them. But at some point, these properties would come off of the tax break system and would then begin to pay property taxes. So the city argues that this is right now, it's leading to more construction jobs. It's leading to more development in the city. It's bringing people into Philadelphia, and eventually they would start paying taxes.
Yeah. Okay. My question becomes, who gets those construction jobs, right? Especially in some of the unions that tend to not be very black. But I guess my other question is this: what are the other tax breaks other than the tax abatement? Because that lasts for 10 years. What are the other tax breaks that you're referring to?
Hold on right now. I'm going to pull up the list right now so I can go through them. There is a Pennsylvania law that allows tax breaks if you are a developer who wants to build new apartments, condos, duplexes, and that's 30 months. That's a 30 months of tax credit on newly constructed property. So that's if you're a developer, you're building, again, apartments, complexes, duplexes, townhouses, row homes. Then there's a city ordinance that lasts 10 years. That is for tax break. So if you're going to make improvements on an existing home, duplex, or apartment, you get a 10-year tax break there. Then there's another ordinance. Trying to go through this as quick as I can. There's another ordinance that allows you to get a 10-year tax exemption if you are going to improve what's called a, quote, deteriorated commercial or industrial site. And then there's another program that allows a 10-year tax abatement on newly constructed apartments, condos, duplexes, and single-family homes. There's a number of these programs.
So which ones are available to people who can't afford to build a whole new apartment development that costs millions of dollars? Which ones are available to just regular folks?
Yeah, regular folks. I would say to them that there's a city ordinance 961, and this information is on the Philadelphia City website, that provides a 10-year tax break if you have a home, an apartment, a condo, and you're going to make improvements on it, and then you get a tax break on the improvements that you make. So, like when you were to go and make those improvements, like put on an addition or make improvements to your home, and it would have more value to it, you're not going to be taxed on those new values to your property for 10 years. So the city is saying, hey, if you want to fix up your home, take advantage of this city ordinance, and you won't pay taxes on those improvements for 10 years. So that's something your listeners can take advantage of.
Okay. All right. So where can they find your map and your reporting on this topic?
So I think think the easiest way for most people to find stuff is to just Google Philadelphia Tribune tax breaks. It will be the first thing that comes up. And in the second line of the story, you'll find a link where you can click on the map, and you can see all the neighborhoods and all the people in your neighborhood that are getting these tax breaks.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD Radio. We appreciate your work.
So thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. That is Tribune correspondent James McGinnis. He joined us to talk about tax breaks that are available and who is getting the most. Guess what? It ain't us. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. That's 215-634-8065. Of course, on the other side of this break, we're going to be talking with dear Melanie Bryant Hurst, about another one of those big life questions that you just got to have the answer to. Always hilarious. Dear Melanie is on the other side. I am Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters! Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Attention WURD audience, do you know that you can get help with your PICO energy bill? PICO is here to help you with financial help through various assistance programs, including the PICO CAP program, which provides a monthly credit for eligible low-income customers based on the customer's total household gross income and energy usage. If you are experiencing financial hardship, you may qualify for the PICO CAP program.
And PICO Cares is the customer assistance and referral evaluation service designed to assist special needs, low-income customers who have a temporary personal or financial hardship that prevents the payment of your PICO energy bill. If you have a special needs child or adult in your care, your household may qualify for the CARES program.
Call 1-800-774-7040 today to see if you qualify due to an existing situation or a change in circumstances within your household. Call 1-800-774-7040 today for more information on the PICO CAP or PICO CARES program. PICO, powering our communities.
Word Show on the go.
Tell us where you'd like to see the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, bring the WURD Show on the Go team next. Visit WURDradio.com. Click the WURD Show on the Go banner and let us know about your community event, big news in your community, or an issue you'd like to see addressed. You can also catch up on the latest episode of WURD Show on the Go, or binge watch previous episodes. It's WURD Show on the Go with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, exclusively on WURDradio.com. WURD Show on the Go is funded in part by the Facebook Journalism Project Community Network. Drive in
with Solomon Jones.
Drive home
with Charles Ellison.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Philadelphia, independent black media. You're waking up
with WURD,
hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And we are back with our next guest, your favorite cousin and mine. That's right, dear Melanie. Melanie Bryant Hurst is a doctoral candidate in social work at Widener University, First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. Melanie, good morning.
Hi, Solomon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, you know, we got a puppy last week, so I'm a little bit off schedule, but otherwise, I'm wonderful.
Oh, you got a little puppy pooping and peeing all around the house. All right, so what you doing about that?
Basically. Look, we got some special spray that we basically keep in our back pocket.
Uh-huh.
You know, he woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning, and it's all off to go outside, so we're working on it, but he's so cute.
No.
My goodness, he's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Puppies are like babies, man. Yeah.
That's why we had a cat, I guess. When I was a kid, you know.
Yeah, because cats are independent.
Oh, yeah, they do what they want to do.
They do what they
ignore you.
Yup.
Exactly. You know? It's like, who are you? Oh, you're the
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another one of those questions, Melanie.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so here it is. Dear Melanie, my girlfriend is obsessed with cable news and it's getting in the way. Every time I try to talk to her about taking our relationship to the next level, she starts talking about Donald Trump, the attack on Saudi oil fields, or Democratic poll numbers. And with impeachment proceedings coming up, I'm afraid I might lose her forever as she sits in front of the TV in pajamas and a headscarf. I love her, but I can't do this anymore. What should I do? Signed, Broken by Breaking News. What do you think?
Dear Broken by Breaking News. First of all, you ain't even had to go there about her headscarf. Now, you know you wrong for that, okay? You know that a black woman's headscarf is just as important as air and water. I don't even know why you started there. But anyway, listen. It is certainly a sad day in America. So, listen, if we're going to be honest, your girlfriend is really not to blame. I mean, neither is MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or any other media outlet. So I'm just going to tell you who should be blamed. Trump. I mean, it's just that simple. Trump is to blame. Listen, couples were safe and secure in their relationships when Obama was president. I'm just going to keep it real. We went out to eat every weekend. Red Lobster shrimp at Endless Shrimp were bigger and juicier. And they started you off with 4 Cheddar Bay biscuits, not just 2. I blame Trump, okay? Date nights were planned out and special when Obama was president. Most ladies even got roses delivered directly to their jobs. And back in those days, we made sure to switch up our headscarves on a monthly basis. But no, not anymore. Those shrimp and Red Lobster are tiny and dry, Solomon. I went there and looked. They were tiny and dry. Did you soak them in water? What happened to the
Right.
We can't even go to Popeyes no more because Trump made them run out of chicken sandwiches, okay? And the headscarf? Well, listen, we might go into a recession, so we're going to wash and wear this same purple Jesus is the King headscarf until it starts to shred. I hate to break it to you, but it is what it is. So we've got to put the blame in its proper place. And guess what? I get it. My husband will watch MSNBC all day long. He watches it at home, in his office. He listens to it on satellite radio in the car. And after he hears the same information over and over and over, he comes to tell me all about it. Now, Solomon, I used to be annoyed and concerned. I mean, I was concerned because he would get so angry. I'm like, is he going to pass out from anger? So I had to put a few things in place to limit his news consumption. So first, I would express my sincere frustration if he even thought about turning to MSNBC in the house. I mean, I might even throw in a noise-sounding huff when he grabbed the remote. I mean, sometimes you just got to take it there. That will automatically prompt him to find something else to watch, like a nice 2-hour movie to take both of our minds off of politics. The second thing, and this is important, we've got to, listen, we sometimes got to pretend that Obama is still the president. Some might call it crazy. I call it wishful thinking. I mean, listen, so we got to go back to planning time to get out of the house and experience new things. Now, listen, you're going to have to stop going to Red Lobster because they haven't begun to think that Obama is still president, and they ain't fixed the shrimp problem yet, okay? But listen, my husband and I, it worked this summer. We spent so much time out of the house enjoying each other's company and seeing and doing new things, so we weren't tuning into MSNBC. And third, and Solomon, this is the most important. Okay. I'm going to tell you a special tip. And while watching Broken News, can't remember what it was, but you have to listen to this tip.
Okay.
You have to learn to passively listen. This is a marriage technique tip that I picked up in a workshop a few years ago. Okay. And once I mastered it, it's worked like a charm. Here's the truth. Most of the time, I have no idea what my husband is saying because I learned to passively listen. Especially for these last few weeks, Solomon. I mean, we'll be in the car, and he'll start talking about, politics. I'll hear Trump as keywords that just automatically turn my head off. It's Trump, McConnell, Pelosi, Democrat, Republican, MSNBC. Any of those trigger words, I automatically go into autopilot. I'm so serious. I mean, listen, I'm physically present. And I'm listening enough to say things like, oh, wow, oh, my, that's something else. But otherwise, Solomon, I have no idea what this man is saying, okay? There's no sense in both of us being upset about the news or any other topic I don't care to discuss, like cars. I mean, I just don't care, so I'm not listening. So listen. There you have it, okay? It seems like the man won't be in office for too much longer if these impeachment hearings go the right way. We got to get the Senate on board. But, listen, until he's going for good, we are just going to have to pretend that Obama is still the president. That's all right. People might think you're crazy, but that's okay. In your mind, you'll be all right. And you're going to save your relationship. So, listen, it is what it is. And hopefully we can start getting flowers delivered to our jobs once again if we go around thinking that Obama is still the president. There you go.
Yeah, all right. That sounds like a good answer to me. Passively listening. Yeah, I think, I got to be honest, men have mastered that a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
we passively listen.
Y'all were born with it, okay? God gave you that skill from birth. Women have to learn it, okay? So we spend years and years trying to figure out what's wrong. And then we go to a workshop and we get liberated and we learn it too. So nobody's listening to anybody, and it doesn't even matter.
I know, right?
Because Obama is the president.
Lord have mercy. Well, there you go. Don't listen and pretend that Obama's the president. You'll be all right.
Perfect.
Sounds good
there
to me.
We're gonna get through this.
That is Melanie Bryan Hurst. She's a doctoral candidate in social work at Wiley University, First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. You can find more of her work on AskThePreacher'sWife.com. That's AskThePreacher'sWife.com. Melanie, thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know how you getting through it, right? Because this is the news. I mean, it is. This dude is the news. And we talk about a lot. We're going to talk about some other stuff a little bit later on in the show. We got Pastor Alan Waller coming up to talk about what's going on with Joe Biden and kind of that rift between younger black folks and older black folks around Joe Biden and his candidacy, because I think that younger black folks, and rightfully so, expect and want more. And so I don't know, Kawesa, how do you get through it? How do you get through this crazy news of Donald Trump and the madness of it all the time?
Popcorn. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. Honestly, I see it, I absorb it, but I try not to let it affect my spirit too much, because if you hold on to it for too long, what I've been noticing, at least with a lot of just news, it is negative and it's heavy. And so, I want to be educated. I want to know what's going on. And so with that, I, know how to act moving forward. So I know that all that I can really do is continue to keep voting in my local elections and, vote in the presidential election and really do the best that I can to make a change in my community. That's all that I can really do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning show. Let's go to the phone lines and let's talk to Shakumba from South Philly. She's on line 1. Good morning.
Oh, hi. I want to talk about the previous subject.
Uh-huh.
Fortunately, I was disconnected, and when I got connected, you had going on. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's about the school district and the money.
Uh-huh.
The school district's never going to get the money. Okay, the reason why is because this last loop bill that they passed. See, I live in the Graduate Hospital area.
Mm-hmm.
They passed this last loop bill, which I was adamantly opposed to, because the loop bill favored those who had the ability to pay the money. And what happened is that OPA has been jigging us around. Okay, they have underassessed the property in my area, way underassessed it. And then in the last assessment, it was 2017, when the last assessment came along, they tried to they assessed the property where it should have, close to where it should have been at, not at where it should have been at, close to where it should have been. So those who a property was assessed at $600,000 were now jumped up to $1 million. So they went down complaining to the city council. So city council then introduced a new loop bill that favored them, which says that if it went up 1.5%, it would have twice. Like instead, it was with the last loop bill was 300%. So if it went up 1.5% greater, you would qualify for this new loop bill, and you get the new loop. So that means that these people whose property are will be worth $1 million won't have to pay that anymore. They would just pay the loop bill.
And loop, for those who don't know, is the long-time owner occupancy program.
Yes, and now they will be at loop until they die.
Who, the people who just bought $1 million houses?
No, those who've been in their houses for 10 years.
Right.
But they were the ones. They in my area, okay. A lot of these people in my area have been in their house for 10 years, but their property was worth $1 million, and OPA was not assessing them at that. If you check the record, you see. And then when they did jump up at the last assessment to almost 1.5 times to 2 times to where they should be at, they went running down to city council, got this new loop bill, which they qualified for, and now they don't have to pay any more than the loop bill. So even though the property will be assessed at $1 million and keep going up, and the assessment keep going up.
So wait a minute, because what you're saying is confusing. I got to be honest, right? Okay. So, and I know you know what it is that you're saying, but I don't think the listeners do. So you're saying that those who should get the loop program are still getting it, but then there are some people who shouldn't be getting it who are getting it now? Right. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is this, that the last loop bill that was passed, that was necessary, okay? The loop bill that was just passed last year was, to me, not really necessary because it favors more people who could afford to pay and less number of people who couldn't.
I got you.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I opposed it because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But city council went on ahead and passed it.
Mm-hmm.
As a result.
So is it still, wait a minute, is it still people who've been in their property for more than 10 years who are getting the new loop bill?
Yes.
Okay, well, isn't that who it's supposed to be for?
It's all right if you can't afford to pay it, but I'm talking about in the graduate hospital area.
Right, it's people who can't afford to pay it.
Right, and I can show you whole blocks.
I got
like
you.
On Bainbridge Street and everything that could pay it. Now they're in the loop program, and you never get the money.
So what you would like to see is a means-tested loop program where it's if you don't have the means to pay, then you get the loop program. But if you do have the means to pay, you pay. That's what you want.
Not again.
All right, well, Shakumba, I got to put you on hold because it's getting long, and I got to get a clear understanding of what it is that you want. But if I understand it correctly, it sounds like you think it's unfair that people who can't afford to pay are getting in on the long-time owner occupancy program when really it should be a program to help people who cannot afford to pay because their property values have gone up as a result of gentrification. If that's the case, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and we can talk about it. Let's go to Zaire from West Oak Lane on line 2. Go ahead, Zaire.
Good morning, Solomon and Croatia.
Good morning. Good morning, brother.
I know when I was little, my grandmother used to go around saying, tell the truth and expose the devil.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm looking forward to this impeachment thing. Because not only you get beyond the headlines, but you go into further detail of the dirt that these individuals are doing. Not only Trump, but those who support him and those Democrats who are just laying back, not doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go ahead and impeach this guy. And we can't just lay down and just say, okay, well, no, we got to fight. And that's part of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents.
All right. Thank you, Zaire. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Calvin from Plymouth Meeting on line 4. Go ahead, Calvin.
Yes, I'm going to ask you a question about that CBS in Yaden last week. What happened to that deal? The CBS...
Still working on it, bruh. Still working on it. Trying to get the police report. Trying to get some other information.
What about the tapes?
I haven't seen the tapes.
Okay, Solomon. I'll keep in touch.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. He's calling about the CBS in Plymouth, in Yaden, on 101 Chester Avenue. I believe this happened on Thursday. Brother was at the counter. He gets into a bit of a discussion with the cashier, asked to talk to the manager. She claims she's the manager. She is actually not the manager. And he asked for the corporate number. And he says, and witnesses say, he did not get that corporate number. Still waiting to talk to that brother, trying to get in touch with him, working through some back channels to talk with him. But I did talk with a witness who was there. We did check with CBS, and they got a whole story, right, trying to cover their employee. But I want to wait until I get all of the information before we get into a real discussion about that. So I'm still working on that story, and we will see where it lands. But trying to get some folks, some other folks, to corroborate some of what our witness told us she saw in there, where brother trying to talk to the young lady there. White dude walks up to him, exposes a gun, and says to him, "Let's take it outside." Right, and so we are still working on that story. So stay tuned for that. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's talk to Lynn from Darby on line 1. Go ahead, Lynn.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Blessed by the best.
All right.
I just wanted to comment on Melody's statement. Yes, I've been pretending ever since we got 45 that Obama is still the president. And as he pines away from all of Obama's progress, I get riled up and say, we got to get rid of him. We got to register to vote and all that and get our people out. And about the guy from the Tribune, it sounds like those tax breaks aren't for us. Sounds, I got to read it and everything, but it just sounds like it's not for us. And getting rid of Trump, the impeachment, all along, I said we should impeach him. Just do whatever it takes, whether it works or not, just go for it. Impeach him. And that's all to it. And you never know. A miracle might come through. Just like Obama got to be president, it might be a miracle that comes through. So people get out, register to vote, stay woke, listen to word, and maybe we'll get there, okay?
All right. All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. Of course, people also commenting on Facebook. You can do that at onWURD, where you can watch us live. That's Facebook. We're at onWURD on Facebook. That's FORWURD. What are folks saying, Kawesa, on Facebook this morning?
We have Raphael Suleiman who says he lost it. It just disappeared.
All right.
I don't see how poor people can live in the Graduate Hospital area now. I used to live there, but I was gentrified out of there. They are using the Loop program as a loophole to avoid paying the taxes. And Diane Fassett, this is actually, I think, in reference to Melanie's segment. Oh boy, my hubby does the same, mostly BBC and PBS. News. Oh, I know how to do that too. Passively listen is the way to go. Just nod yes or no, and your marriage is good. That's funny.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, just a couple of those comments that are here. Also, Bruce Flavor says, nope, I'm not going to read that.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Nope. So, yep, that's what we have.
All right. Well, there we have it. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we should be talking with Pastor Alan Waller. He was in Rolling Stone. They interviewed him about the Joe Biden candidacy and really the age gap between those who support him and those who do not in the black community. So, Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. Visit enontab.org. Enon, a place where people encounter God.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
We filmed 15 Pennsylvania kids who were all waiting to be adopted and asked what having a family and permanent home would mean to them.
I want a family just to accept me for who I am, to be there just to support me whenever I'm needing it.
To be matched with a family would be amazing. I won't be in a system all the time.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This can be traced back to our founder, Gottlieb Dietz, who learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, each one of our delicious offerings is meticulously crafted using perfected details. Because if it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. To us, the details make all the difference.
WordRadio.com.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Oh, silly me, my dear, for thinking that you'd stay. Gave you my heart and then you ran away. Either I'm stupid, I'm foolish, or you're playing me. But it seems we were never really meant to be. So I thought I would try something new. I wanted to find out if I could live happy without you. And it turned out I wasn't living at all. But I would have never known if you had this played alone. I was living a dream, believing things that just ain't true. Oh, I can't believe I ever believed in you. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. Somewhere deep down inside I knew you wasn't right. But breaking your spell was a plan I never devised. I would have been here forever living for you. But I would have been living forever at your phone. Oh.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And as we await our next guest, we're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning show. Impeachment. Yep, that's the word on everybody's lips. Is it real or is it Memorex? I want to know what you think. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in, 215-634-8065. And so we're talking about that, talking also about some of the things that are going on with taxes in the city of Philadelphia. Who is getting these tax breaks? They are concentrated in neighborhoods like Old City, like Northern Liberties, in many of the gentrifying areas in the city of Philadelphia. That's where the tax breaks are concentrated, and that is not right. But we want to talk a little bit of national politics now, and joining us to do that is Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller. He is the senior pastor at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church here in the city of Philadelphia. Reverend Waller, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Man, I am doing great. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. So they quoted you in Rolling Stone. Jamil Smith did an interview with you around your support for Joe Biden and why you support Joe Biden. And I think part of his angle and part of his critique was that there is a rift between younger people and older people in terms of that support of Biden in the black community.
Yeah, and let me qualify how we got there so you understand the context.
Mm-hmm.
I was first interviewed by Washington Post, and I made a statement that I believe that Joe Biden was a comfortable shoe that will put us
on good footing to get this country back in order. And this was back in August. And so that was my view of his candidacy, not my endorsement, because what I said is I'm going to work feverishly for whoever the Democratic candidate is when the smoke clears.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in my humble opinion, we had two tracks to win. Number one, we could find somebody who gives us an Obama-like turnout, or number two, we can find somebody who can eat into the moderates and those who went for Trump last time because they felt left out of the Democratic Party or they had Clinton fatigue. And so I said that about Joe Biden.
Okay.
And I tried to qualify that with also saying some of that could be my age. Some of that is also you deal with the devil you know as opposed to the devil you don't know. And so that was that context. And so that also I want to model, and I acknowledge that the younger generation views it differently.
Yeah.
And what I also want to model now is how we have this without getting in the mud. I am open to Joe losing me. He should not take for granted that we are with him now, and as some think that he might. And I think he needs to remember that now that we're giving him the nod, he's got to show us some real commitment to our community, because he can't win Pennsylvania without Philadelphia black.
That's right. That's right.
And
That's right.
He needs to show us that. And so I agreed with the Rolling Stone magazine. We agreed that in a month or so, we'll come back and talk to me, because if Joe Biden keeps coming to town and some of us don't get the call to sit at the table, not to show up at the fundraiser, I'm going to say that too.
That and Pastor Waller, that's been my issue. I took umbrage with the fact that they came to see the unions and didn't come to see the black community.
Absolutely.
As I watched that campaign play out last time, the union leaders said, we're going to support Hillary Clinton. And the union rank and file, those who were, working class white folks, a lot of them went and voted for Donald Trump. And so, that's a fractured base. But in the black community, that's where your support is coming from. Why didn't they come see us?
That's right. Because I think they think sentiments like mine mean eternal salvation. Meaning, because I said that in August, I somehow have to stay there. But he's a politician, and I am a community leader and preacher. I don't have to stay committed to him. That was my understanding at the time. I still do believe that. However, as Trump gets even muddier, it makes it seem that maybe a few people on our side can beat him. And what I also want to model in this dialogue, and I said to you, this is a good opportunity for us to have a dialogue with millennials and younger persons.
Yeah.
How do we have this without attacking each other? Because part of the problem of the primary is that we will fight each other to where once we get a candidate, support for that candidate will lack integrity.
Right.
Like Ted Cruz. How can Ted Cruz let a man talk about his wife, call him a liar, and then he turn around and support him? That raises integrity questions. So I am not saying what Elizabeth Warren is not. I am not saying what any of them are not. I am saying from my vantage point today, effort for effort, it seems that Joe Biden is the devil that we know, and what he lacks, we already understand and can account for.
Right.
And he might be the one that can get us back on good footing. But if he does not come through with the right angles in terms of inviting us to the table and not the show, we need to say that as well. But this is an opportunity for us to have a cross-generation conversation, because I know that my son-in-law, who is a pastor, who is 28 years old. We have wonderfully riveting conversations, and he disagrees with his pop on this. And this is an opportunity for us to talk about it and not fall out about it, because at the end of the day, these are politicians, and none of them are going to be 100% what we want them to be.
That's right.
And none of us should sell our souls for them. Only our commitment to getting America to be the place we want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller. He is senior pastor at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. He was quoted in Rolling Stone, an article that looked at the support in the black community for Joe Biden. Now, he's the person we know. We're comfortable with him. We saw him with Obama. We thought he did a pretty good job of supporting Obama when others, even within his own party, did not. And so I think a lot of that support is based on that. Younger people are looking at some other things, and they're looking at some things that happened even before they were born, quite frankly, around Joe Biden. But those are legitimate concerns. And one of the things that happened in the last campaign, and I was horrified to see it, but I saw it happen before my very eyes, was there was this split between older black folks and younger black folks who felt like, look, either we're not going to vote or we're going to vote for a third-party candidate. We're going to vote for somebody we know can't win based on principle. Right. And as a result, that and many other things, Hillary Clinton lost. So how do you bridge that gap? I mean, what do you suggest we do?
Well, number one, I think we have to lift up Queen Coasa's voice, because I was listening to her earlier, and she was talking about being a pragmatist in this.
Yeah.
And she needs to be able to speak to her context. And they need to understand, I think she said, the Republicans are playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Yep.
And that's true. We have to win. And we have to appreciate that winning is down and dirty, and that's what we have to do. We have to get that office back. And my contention was this: Donald Trump has made a mess, but it is not irreparable at this point. And we can make him a 4-year term, and we can get back in there and reverse. We can't reverse the judges he's put in place.
Right.
But we can reverse. There's something deeper even than that in my estimation. Our standing in the world and the spirit of our country has been impacted. And those of us who are Christian and even Muslims, we understood that, the spirit of a leader impacts the nature of the thing he or she leads.
That's right.
And so the spirit that is in him has called out the very ugliness of our country, and we can change that by putting somebody different there. We can put a full government in place. He has an acting everything.
Yep.
And there are tons of positions that have not been filled. We do not have a fully functioning government because his administration has never even put everything in place. So even before we get into the top shelf items of health care for all, universal health care, Medicare for all, even before we get into some of those even loftier issues, we've got to get America back to just being the democracy that it was supposed to be on paper.
Right.
So we have to win, and right now, winning means we can't waste our votes, and we have to stay at the table so that we force whoever gets in there to pay attention to our issues. Winning is the first step. Remember, Donald Trump is worse than we thought he was going to be because once he got in there, he then used the power of the office to do even worse things.
Yeah.
We can take that same strategy and get in the office first. Let's just get the office, and then we can begin to do the better things that some of the candidates are talking about. We've got to make sure that people have health care. We've got to make sure that people are employed. We've got to make sure that immigrants are taken care of, and yet we have an appropriate way to define in and out. We've got to get to these lofty ideas, but we'll never get there if we don't have the office.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have to.
That's got to be the bottom line. Win.
Bottom line.
You know what I mean? I feel like Al Davis, just win, baby. I feel
Just
like
win.
that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know, and worry about the rest of it when you get there. Pastor Waller, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Well, thank you, man, and thank you for your leadership in the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. So I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. You got to get in. You got to get in order to affect the change that you're talking about. And so that requires strategy. It requires coming together. It requires unity, and it requires everybody to be involved in it. Like, you can't sit on the sidelines and take pot shots at everybody else about, you know, what they are doing. Well, who's they and what are you doing? You know what I mean? Those days are over, man. We are in a state of emergency. Let them get one more Supreme Court justice and see what happened. May have you back out there picking cotton. Look here, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Gwen from West Philly is on line 1. Go ahead, Gwen.
Yeah, hi, Solomon.
How are you?
Good morning to all Word family. But let me say this. I'm 75 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I am not in love with Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
What I wish people would say is there are some seniors who support Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not in love with none of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, who would be your preference out of those who are running now? Who would be your preference?
Well, right now, I'm looking at oh gosh, see, I'm old, so I forget things. But I'm looking at not what's going, but the one that's right up underneath him at this point.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Liz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is a little excited and whatnot, but Liz is looking at policy.
Yeah.
Liz is saying, this is what I can change.
Very true.
Joe Biden is running on Barack's coattails.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I ain't think he was that great from the get-go.
Okay.
I've heard Joe Biden say some things that I wouldn't say to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Look, when he gets on camera and things that he's supposed to be saying, he forgets things. Look, I know we old, we do forget things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got to be sharp when you run it against Trump.
Yeah.
You can't. Trump will eat him alive. If Joe get to stammering and stumbling, you know what he's going to talk about it. You know what I mean? So we have to look. Joe Biden does not have a shoe in with all the senior citizens. So what I would hope people would say is that there are some seniors who would support Joe Biden, but there's others who are looking at other people too.
All right.
I mean, we forget things, but we still can think. And we the ones who was out there getting our head beat in, you know, marching. When I was a teenager, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I realized some of those things. So I want somebody, don't sit back and just think I can count on all these senior votes for me, so I don't have to meet with them. I don't have to show up. Do you understand? Just like you said.
Yeah.
And don't meet with us. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Let them know, hey, you are not in that spot, because Liz is looking better to me every day.
All right. I hear you. I hear you, Gwen, and I think you make some excellent points, and I want to thank you for making them this morning on WURD. Let's go to Beverly from New Jersey on line 2. Go ahead, Beverly.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I think the most important thing is for us to have a candidate who can beat Trump. I like Liz. I like Kamala, but we need someone who can get some of those votes from middle America, some of those farmers who are losing out on money because of what's going on with China. Will they vote for a woman? Will they vote for a black? They might vote for Joe Biden. And that's the most important thing, I think. And also in terms of the disparity between seniors and young people, unfortunately, a lot of our young people will not go out and vote.
So how do we have the conversation? Because I think it needs to be a conversation. It's not just us talking to them like, you better go and vote because, you know, you young, you into rebellion. So it's like somebody pointing their finger at you like you need to go and vote. That means you're really not going to do it. How do we have the conversation with our younger folks to make sure that they actually do go out and vote?
Well, I think we have to emphasize the importance of this time.
Mm-hmm.
That if you don't go out and vote, just like you said, do we want to go back to picking cotton? Well, we don't know what's going to happen if Trump gets another 4 years in office.
Right.
I think the conversation has to be centered around letting them know the importance of the times we're in. These are dangerous times. It could be worse with another 4 years of Trump. I think we have to keep emphasizing that to our young people. There are many young people who are still saying they don't feel their vote counts.
That's right.
And so we got to emphasize, if our vote didn't count, the Republican Party wouldn't be so concentrated in suppressing our vote.
That's right. That's right.
We just got to, emphasize that. Have a great day, Solomon.
Thank you. You too. We're going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
If you're looking for a great paying part-time job with flexible hours, check out 2020 Census Jobs. You may have another job, or not. You may even be retired or looking for some extra income, but you can also help make sure that everyone gets counted. So apply today at 2020census.gov/jobs to help strengthen your community.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875.
Or visit wordradio.com. Backed by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And we're going back to the phone lines. We're talking about the generational rift in terms of support for Joe Biden in the black community. Older folks tend to be more supportive of him than younger folks. Gwen called and said, look, not all of us. Because I like Elizabeth Warren and I'm 75, so we appreciate Gwen. And really, I think that's how we need to be. We need to be looking at all options, and we need to be making sure that they understand. Because listen to me, man, and Pastor Waller alluded to it. They cannot win Pennsylvania without Philadelphia, and you cannot win Philadelphia without a strong black turnout. You can't win the presidency without Pennsylvania. So guess what? Black folks in Philly hold the key to the presidency in this next election. Yo, y'all need to be coming meeting with us now. Right now. Not now, right now. Y'all need to be coming and meeting with us, period. Because you can't win the presidency without the black vote in Philadelphia. Like, it's that important. I need y'all to understand that. I need y'all to understand just how much power you have right now. And you know what you do when you have power? You kind of hold on to it, right? And you say, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. What you got for me? That's what you do. You don't just play your whole hand and say, okay, well, you got my support, and now you've wasted your power. And so I think that it really does have to be, y'all got to come kiss the ring. Y'all got to do something. You know what I mean? Ain't no whole lot of, we just going to give you our vote. Nah. Nope. Not a whole lot of that. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. Let's talk to Gladys from Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Gladys.
Yes, Solomon.
Yes.
I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you.
And I listen to your show when I visit my mother in Philadelphia. I'm currently in Savannah.
Okay.
But one of the things that I was thinking about in reaching the young people, you have to meet them where they are. Now, they're hip-hop, rap, and all that, and that's not all bad because I know a gentleman in Atlanta named Mike Render. They call him Killer Mike. He mobilizes voting registration and get out the vote, you know. So sometimes if you can bring those celebrities in where the young people will rally, you give them a ticket. I guarantee you they'll vote. You say you go vote, I'll give you a free ticket to Beyonce concert, Jay-Z concert. They're going to go vote because you know why? They want that ticket.
Yeah.
So like I said, sometimes you got to meet young people where they are. No, they don't know the history like we know the history. I'm 65 years old.
Right.
But I still rally around young people to kind of understand what their thinking is.
Sure.
You know? So it's just a thought. You know, like I said, I listened to your program. It was very informative when you were talking about the tax and the loop and all that. My mom is in an area that could take advantage of that.
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you so much for your informative program.
You are so welcome.
Allowing me to speak.
You are so welcome, and thank you again for being a first-time caller. We're getting a lot of those these days, Kawesa. We're having an impact, so we appreciate that, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Sadie from Sharon Hill is on line 3. Good morning, Sadie.
Good morning, Solomon and Miss Kawesa. I just have a comment regarding your cousin. I love her sex. I really do on Wednesdays. And you know what? She smoked truth to power because that's what I do. I go back on my computer and I look up the videos of President Obama, Michelle Obama. That lifts me. With all the science that's going on every day, 24/7, I can't take it. And it's not like trying to live in the past, but sometimes you just have to go back. You know, like we used to say, go back to the old landmark.
Yeah.
And that's where I go. It's not every day, but when it gets to the point where I have to turn my TV off, because I just can't stand the foolishness, and to me that's what it has become any longer. I got to go back to a president who was the president for everybody, you know, and it works for me, you know, so just keep on doing what you're doing, even though, you know, a lot of people may not call, but they're listening. You know, they are listening. I'm not a caller, you know, all the time.
Okay.
I listen every day, every day.
Thank you.
Know? And it's because you're giving us what we need. You're giving us what, if you and Miss Kawesa together, you know, that's power.
All right.
Power.
All right.
You know?
Well,
so
thank you.
I just had to put that in. So tonight I'll probably go on my computer again and pick up another video of our former president and just let it take me to where it's going to take me.
I understand that. Thank you so much. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Clarence from Southwest on line 4. Go ahead, Clarence.
Hey, love you, Solomon. Can you hear me?
Love you back, brother. Hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, the Bible says that when...
Can you turn your radio down? We're getting an echo from your radio.
When the wicked rule, the people suffer. And you know about that. Now, now, it looks like to me that the wicked is ruling. And though, I mean, I have faith, I pray, and I hope that this man gets out of office, but he made some statements when he was campaigning. He said, people that got all the money, you don't even know who they are, and they're friends of mine. Another thing he said, I can shoot a man in the middle of New Times Square, nothing would happen to me. Now, it don't look to me like this is some kind of new power here. And these people are like, when this election comes, this is the way I think it's going to happen. They're going to get this man back in there any kind of way they can. If they have to go take some monkey wrenches and some screwdrivers and fix the machine, so they're going to make sure he does another 4 years. Now, if the only way we're going to win this thing is get some technicians and some engineers to make sure the machines are cool. But this thing is rigged, just like the casinos. It looks like it's fair, but you got some people behind the scenes to make sure the casino will win. They're going to get that money, and that's about the same way this election is ran. It's been corrupt. It was set up by the wicked from the beginning.
So what do you think we should do?
I think that the Constitution was written, hundreds of years ago. It's not set up for these days and times. They're going to come to that realization. The people of America is going to come to that realization sooner or later that the rules were written by wicked and crooked men hundreds of years ago, and they don't even go with today's society. We need to make a change. Now, I tell you, it's going to take some wise people Now, here's one thing.
Now, what do you think we should do? We got to go quickly because we only got a couple minutes left.
What we should do, we need to talk. We need to have some meetings, and we meet every Sunday all over the country. And we need to talk about this stuff in the black churches, these big mega churches. I think that would be a beginning.
All right.
We start talking about how to make some changes.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to George from Somerville on line 2. Go ahead.
What's going on, Jones?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for asking, good brother. For the inaccurate property assessment, I think they got to go to the office of David O. Councilman at Large. They're dealing with that because, they're raising the assessments and that's raising the property taxes.
Okay.
I think I heard Mr. Washington speak about the voting system.
Yes.
They got the Philadelphia City Commission got the new voting system. I think it's like Simple and Secure or something like that. I don't know if you're familiar with it yet.
No, I haven't actually seen the new voting machines yet.
Yeah, they pretty mean, bro. It's a
Okay.
full-face voting surface and a voting verifiable paper ballot.
Okay.
Cool. And I just want to touch on the part to get the youth to come out. I understand the young lady, the first time caller that called from Savannah.
Yeah.
We got to give these kids positive reinforcement. They have no belief. In order for them to have belief, we got to give them positive reinforcement. We got to start with us, not us keep asking everybody else what we got to do. No, we got to give them positive reinforcement along with the proper belief system so they can come out there and educate us too. I love you for that.
Love you back, brother. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Mary from Southwest on line 1. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to talk about copay, Medicare. The seniors that have Medicare and they have a copay insurance also. So when they go to the doctor, they shouldn't have to pay the copay because their supplemental insurance take care of that. And I've been to a couple of doctors who have charged me for the copay also. So they're charging me, and they're also charging my insurance. And when I went one time, and I asked them, why do I have to pay? Why do I owe? She said, that's copay. I said, but my insurance paid for that. Well, you just have to pay. So I paid it, and I went to the same doctor 3 times, and I did the same thing. So the 3rd time, I said, no, I got to just stop this and call the insurance because other things were getting in the way before. I called the insurance. They, in turn, called the doctor's office, and they told me that that I shouldn't be paying that. They called the doctor's office, and they came back to me and told me that the office would reimburse me all the money that I paid, which was $105.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, she told me that they were billing me. I mean, they were charging me and also billing the insurance. So just recently, I went to another one of my doctors, and I hadn't been paying, and they told me it was a $25 copay, and I asked them why. So the lady, one lady, was giving me some reason, which was opposite of what it should have been. I didn't force it right then because I didn't want to miss my turn, but when I came home, I called the insurance again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, man, we got to kind of get to the bottom line. So what is the bottom line?
The bottom line is seniors, when you go to and you have Medicare and you have a supplemental insurance, please, if they say you owe, check with your insurance. Don't just give them your money.
There you go. There you go. That's good advice. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Ruby from Kensington on line 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. And Quaker, how are you doing today?
Good, and you?
Fine. I just want to tell your listeners.
Yes.
Stop hollering impeachment because it's not going to work. On November 5th, get up off your ambition and get out there and vote. That's the only way we're going to get rid of Trump a dump. You got to get up off your A.
Wait a minute. You call him Trump a dump?
Trump a dump. Well, you know his real name was Trump.
I know.
I
know.
So they keep hollering impeachment. You keep telling it it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go vote.
Yeah, you got to go vote.
That day.
You got to go vote.
In the sunshine. Get out and vote. That's
right.
the only way.
That's it. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines and get our last one. Muhammad from the Northeast is on line 4. Go ahead, Muhammad.
Hey, Solomon, what's going on? Bro?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
Good, good. There are two candidates in the Democratic primary that come the closest to reflecting my interest in getting my vote.
Mm-hmm.
They have more ovaries than the whole rest of the bunch. The names are Marion Williamson and Tulsi Gabbard.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have been rather unequivocal about reparations for black people in America. Bernie, straddling. He ain't even straddling the fence. He said no. Elizabeth Warren straddling the fence. Biden's a no. So they all out.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio, and I want to thank everybody who joined us on today's show. It was hot as usual, and I want to thank our guests, including Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller from Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, as well as Lynn Washington, Temple professor, and, of course, my favorite cousin and yours, dear Melanie Bryan-Hurst, who joined us on today's show. And we also talked to reporter from James McGinnis from the Philadelphia Tribune. We talked to him as well. And so now for super producer Kawesa Mathis and everybody here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.
EcoWord. Wednesdays on Reality Check with Charles Ellison.
4 p.m. till 7 p.m.
Right here on Word Radio.
And WordRadio.com.
This hour was brought to you by Enon Tabernacle Baptist